Welcome back to Mercedes-Benz Stadium here in Atlanta, Georgia. Weather's always perfect indoors. No one happier than our lady on the sideline, Melanie Collins. Melanie.
Thank you, Greg. Well, Coach mentioned it. In order to find success on the back end of the defense, you have to start with a pass rush on the front end to take some of that pressure off of the Falcons' depleted secondary. The front seven for the Falcons will get a big boost today as Tack McKinley makes his return at defensive end after missing last week's game against the Saints with a groin injury. When we spoke to Dan Quinn about the injuries this week, he said, "We refuse to play the role of the victim. We look at this as a great opportunity for the next men up to pay it forward and honor the guys who have mentored them to this point with their performance on the field today," Greg.
All right, Melanie, thank you. The Cincinnati Bengals won the toss. They will defer, which means they will kick to the hometown Falcons. The Falcons 1-2, the Bengals 2-1. And Marvin Hall is deep and we are underway. He will run this one out from about 3 yards deep in the end zone. 20, 25, breaking through! And out of bounds close to the 50-yard line. Marvin Hall, the second-year man out of Washington.
No better way to start some energy. Big kickoff return.
Well, more and more in today's NFL, you go that deep into the end zone, they're going to take the knee because you're getting the ball at the 25. They decide to bring it out, and a great job of blocking by the Falcons. Hill with the kick out. Hall taking it up the sideline.
53-yard return sets Matt Ryan up at midfield. Tevin Coleman in the backfield. Coleman gets the handoff and gets a couple. We'll call it a 3-yard pickup. And it'll be second down. Matt Ryan, 267 career passing touchdowns, making his 135th straight start.
The Falcons are a wide zone running team. A lot of negatives and zeros, but they're going to hit some big ones, especially with Coleman cutting it back.
That pass over the middle is complete and looks to be just shy of a first down by about a yard or maybe a half yard. Calvin Ridley with the catch, and boy, has he exploded on the offensive scene for these Atlanta Falcons.
Well, after a big game a week ago, getting him involved right away, you know, talking to the coaches, they said, listen, we didn't want to not share the ball with him at the beginning of the season. Was trying to find ways, and then of course the breakout game he had a week ago, 7 catches, 3 of those going for touchdowns. This one today setting up a 3rd and short.
Coleman and Ortiz in the backfield. First down and more for Coleman inside the 35 to about the 32. Brought down by Geno Atkins.
Coach, you talked about Geno Atkins in the beginning and the fact that they need to do a better job on run defense. If they're going to allow those big chunks like that, especially on a 3rd and 1, we know what Carolina did to them last week when they were running the football over 200 yards as a team. So that's where it needs to start, is up front, stopping that run game of the Falcons.
It'll be an all-day chore if they can't stop the run.
On the ground again, Coleman again. Cuts it back. And brought down at about the 27-yard line by Dre Kirkpatrick.
Again, good job on the wide zone. Getting that cut block on the backside is huge. And that when you want to run the wide zone, you got to get a running lane in the backside cutoff, and they did a heck of a job right there.
2nd and 4. On the ground again, Coleman again. Stopped at about the 25-yard line. That'll be 2 yards shy of a first down. Preston Brown, the middle linebacker, in on the stop.
When you can see the patience of the running game, Coleman taking his time, trying to see, it's, as you said, the zone blocking. You're trying to find that cutback. They've cut back, had great success with it. That time, Cincinnati able to stop it, holding them here to 3rd and short.
Again, 3rd down defense, you're going to struggle if you can 3rd and 1 and 3rd and 2 all day. Both these teams are outstanding on first down, in the top 10 on first down offense.
Ryan spreads the field on 3rd and 2. with time, now throws inside the 15 to the 11-yard line. The catch is made by Julio Jones for a first down.
Real good.
Rookie safety Jesse Bates comes up and tries to knock the ball out. Julio Jones just uses his strong hands, secures the ball. Watch Matt Ryan, his mobility to slide up in the pocket, pick a location to get it in between linebacker and safety. Bates couldn't knock it away.
That was a lot of trust.
Yes.
You know, they had the short pass, thinking man-to-man, went to his second read and got it in there to Julio.
Julio Jones looking for his first touchdown catch of the season. Justin Hardy with the carry. And Carlos Dunlap with the stop. These Atlanta Falcons in the red zone. They have 8 touchdowns in their last 8 red zone trips.
Everybody wanted to know what was wrong in the first week. Just give it time. Give it time. They're 8 for 8, and this is going to be a big one here.
And that's not just 8 for 8 scoring in the red zone. That's 8 for 8 getting touchdowns in the red zone.
Yes, indeed.
On 2nd and 6, this is Ito Smith, and Smith to the end zone for the touchdown. The rookie scores his first NFL touchdown.
It's going to be a long day for Cincinnati if they can't stop the run. Watch the down blocks here, and you're going to get the pull with the kick out, and then you're going to get the run. Great blocking up front. They seal it inside, they kick it outside, and then Ito Smith with the ability to bounce it. It's going to be a long day, Coach.
Yeah, and again, missed tackles. It's plagued both these teams. That should have been stopped on the 3-yard line with a good tackle.
Matt Bryant for the extra point. And that is good. So with the benefit of a good kickoff return, the Atlanta Falcons draw first blood, 7-0. We're back to Atlanta right after this. Couldn't ask for a better start if you were the Atlanta Falcons. 4.5 minutes after taking the opening kickoff. A 50-yard drive in 8 plays, and Ito Smith scoring the 7-yard touchdown.
Well, the rookie Ito Smith, the 4th-round pick out of Southern Mississippi, getting an opportunity because of the injury to Devontae Freeman, and he's done a good job balancing both. He does an effective job catching the ball out of the backfield, and you can see his ability to bounce and read those blocks up front. That time, reading it and breaking the tackle to get into the end zone.
Yeah, he's their downhill pounder, and they want to go downhill on these guys.
Here's Alex Erickson, a couple of yards deep in the end zone. He finds running room up the middle and across the 30 to about the 32-yard line. All right, Coach, let's talk about the game plan for the day.
Well, for the Cincinnati Bengals, they got to go green. I mean, they got to get A.J. involved early and often. They really struggled when he was out last week and got to get off the field on 3rd down. We saw it in that first drive. And then stay hot, mighty ice. I mean, he's been on fire and not give up chunk plays to Andy Dalton and A.J. Green. If they keep everybody in front of them, they'll be fine today.
Andy Dalton, good field position, his own 33. Giovanni Bernard in the backfield behind him. Bernard, little stutter step and out to the 35-yard line. Both these teams missing their number 1 running backs. As you take a look at Andy Dalton, 2 or more touchdown passes in each game so far this season. But as we said in the open, Trent, that 4-interception performance at Carolina is kind of like a sore thumb that sticks out.
Yeah, it is, but it's really deceiving. There was a couple of those, one's a Hail Mary at the end of the game, down 2 scores. Another one, receiver stops running his route and doesn't locate. So numbers can be deceiving sometimes. Andy's had a good season.
Bernard again. And Bernard just across the 40-yard line. It'll be a couple of yards short of a first down as you take a look at the starting offensive lineup for these Cincinnati Bengals. It is missing the rookie 1st-round pick Billy Price at center. He has a foot injury. Trey Hopkins in place of him, and they're looking at Vic Beasley now down on the field, number 44.
Well, that's not going to help the Falcons at all. Number of injuries on the defense for the Falcons. Beasley being one of their main pass rushers, they really can't afford it. I mean,
No,
they're running short on depth.
Yeah, not in the back end. You saw the first play. The Bengals used a little shift, and the Falcons couldn't get lined up. The young safeties had no clue where to go. Then they come back on a good running play, and they lose Beasley. They're going to add up sooner or later. The next man up works. It works for a while,
right,
but it doesn't work on the 6th and 7th guy.
Yep. Well, and you've experienced that.
I'm in the booth because of that.
Jack Crawford replaces him, the 7th-year D lineman out of Penn State. 3rd and 2. Dalton going to throw for it. No, this is whistle blown dead. Penalty flagged on the far side of the field. Our referee today is Sean Smith. Apparently, Coach, it's never too early to get testy.
Yeah, I mean, lines of scrimmage.
False start. Offense, number 68. 5-yard penalty. Remains 3rd down.
That's right tackle Bobby Hart.
Bobby Hart at right tackle. He's going up against Tack McKinley. He starts a little early.
And when we talked to him yesterday, and Andy Dalton didn't think the crowd noise was going to be a problem with the silent count, but it is in a dome stadium, I promise you.
So now it's 3rd and 7. Dalton going to go deep, has his man on the far side, and he's got him. A.J. Green.
Well, great job. They got A.J. Green in the slot one-on-one, and the Falcons don't play a lot of man-to-man, and they got him right. Perfect throw, inside go route.
Talked to him yesterday about the joys of being in the slot. He liked the idea.
Yeah, he was talking to Larry and the other guys who've extended their Chris Carter. He's going to study a lot of film on those guys.
Well, the Bengals did a good job. Bill Lazor, the offensive coordinator, with that formation, a 3-by-1 look. Green in the slot to the right with a safety in the middle. It's just that inside slot fade to the sideline. As a defender, you've got no help.
He had 58 receiving yards last week. That one was good for 38. This is Tyler Boyd, and Tyler Boyd wrestled out of bounds at about the 15-yard line.
You know, and talking to both head coaches in the meetings, they talked about leverage. We miss some tackles because of leverage. That receiver on the slot, that's got to be outside technique, funneling him back inside. He can't get beat outside in man-to-man.
As you see the starting defensive lineup, these Falcons missing their 2 starting safeties. And there is Brian Poole, number 34, subbing. Ricardo Allen is gone for the season, and so is Keanu Neal.
Hey, Reagan 59.
On 1st down. Play clock running down, and Andy Dalton sees that and calls timeout. We'll take a timeout, too. We're back in half a minute after this from State Farm. Welcome back, everyone. 7.5 to play in the first quarter. No surprises so far, right?
No, neither team can get off the field on 3rd down, and a little surprised that the Falcons played more man-to-man on that last series.
On 1st down, Dalton with time, end zone, wide open, touchdown, Tyler Eifert.
Eifert's going to be lined up to the left, and he's just going to work his way right up the numbers. But watch here, A.J. Green is doing a double move, so the safety goes to that side of the field, and rightfully so. A.J. Green deserves that type of respect. Well, as soon as Andy Dalton sees the safety work that way, he knows exactly where he's going, wide open for the touchdown.
Yeah, the double mirrored route, nod seams on both sides, and he did a great job looking him off.
As a quarterback, you line up, Greg, quarterback, you line up like that, you get so excited. You
can't wait to snap the ball.
Yeah, you want to get it to that fast.
The extra point is good. Did we say offense may shine today? 7:23 to play in the first. Tyler Eifert, his first touchdown catch of the season. And we're tied at 7. You're watching the NFL on CBS.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Pizza Hut, official pizza sponsor of the NFL. AARP, take on today with AARP, real possibilities. And by T-Mobile, America's most loved wireless brand.
Some really nice shots of Centennial Olympic Park here in Atlanta, 21-acre park downtown, originally built for the 1996 Summer Olympic Games. Tyler Eifert on the receiving end of the touchdown pass from Andy Dalton. We're tied at 7. Marvin Hall. Last time he tried this, he returned it 53 yards. Trying to turn the corner on the left side. Penalty markers fly as he breaks out across the 30. Let's go back and check the flag.
During the return, holding. Return team, number 55. 10-yard penalty from the spot of the foul. First down.
That penalty on Bruce Carter. Let's go back and watch Tyler Eifert at the back of the end zone.
Great job. When you trust your hands, dragging your toe is easy. You always catch the ball and drag the toe. If you try to pity pat, sometimes you'll step out of bounds. Great job of catch, drag the toe, touchdown.
How about those of us who naturally drag our toes, Coach? Ruin a good pair of shoes in the process.
Hey, what I was impressed with, everybody's concerned, what's Andy Dalton going to do today? He had 4 interceptions a week ago. He comes out, goes 3 for 3, 64 yards and a touchdown. He's not worried about last week.
Play fake to Coleman. And Ryan going to go deep and overthrows his man, Calvin Ridley, the intended receiver. Check in with Melanie downstairs. Melanie.
Well, Greg, before this series, Ito Smith was getting a lot of love down here on the Falcons sideline. Just about everybody came up to him to congratulate him. But the coolest thing to me was rookie Calvin Ridley came up to him and said, hey, that first one feels good, doesn't it? Nothing like your first NFL touchdown. And guys, just an update on Vic Beasley. He has a right ankle injury. He's questionable to return.
All right, Melanie, thank you. 7:09 to play in the first. 2nd and 10. And this is Coleman across the 10 out to about the 11, maybe the 12, where Preston Brown makes another stop. This is a linebacking core for Cincinnati that gets Vontez Burfict back in another week.
And that's a big emotional lift because he brings a lot of fire and energy to that defense. They finally have a situation right now. They're in a winnable third down, and this what's going to me is going to dictate who wins this game, who can get off the field and set up their offense in great field position right here.
Ryan throwing over the middle. Oh, what a catch by Julio Jones. First down. And another third down conversion.
The Bengals decide to blitz 5. They bring the middle linebacker. That gives them man-to-man underneath, 2 safeties deep, 22-man is the coverage. So in a trail technique, you've got to help over the top. The problem with Julio Jones, he's so big, you put that ball in the spot that Matt Ryan put that ball, you can't defend that.
Yeah, and William Jackson is normally an outside corner. He's now forced to come in and play the nickel, and he's not used to that technique.
Ryan on the move, now throws. This is Coleman. Coleman out of bounds as he crosses the 50-yard line.
And just to go back to what you said earlier in this game, Julio Jones moving to the slot, it's going to create some great mismatches. Instead of, throughout his career, he's been lined up single on the outside. Now all of a sudden you're moving him around different formations, utilizing differently, and you're going to get the matchups you want. They can take advantage of those size differentials and also the coverage.
Yeah, both teams trying to do the same thing. A.J. Green, Julio Jones. And one thing about that was one of those touchdown, check down plays. They went deep, nothing there, check it down to the back, and you pick up a bunch of yards.
Ito Smith back into the lineup. The ball at the Cincinnati 49. Play fake. Ryan still has it on the move, looks downfield, and is going to scramble for about 4 yards out of bounds at the 45.
That's just natural for me to hold my breath right there. Every time Carson Palmer would do that, he'd pull a muscle. I was like, easy, Matty. Get on out of bounds quick.
Well, that's not something that Matt normally wants to do, but he does have 2 rushing touchdowns on the season. You can see he gets out of the pocket. They tried getting deep with the corner route. Just it was covered. It was double teamed, so there was no secondary route. They were trying for the home run. You see everybody commit to the right. Ryan rolled out to the left. That's why he had to take off and run.
I imagine Dan Quinn wasn't too thrilled to see it either. And around. Ridley slips and goes down. He's going to be marked down at the Cincinnati 44.
Well, Coach, this is one of those deals that, depending on how this game finishes up on Monday in the film room, his guys are going to give him you got a flat tire on that one. You have to make that cut.
You win the game, you're going to get a lot of grief Monday.
Yes.
And that's a lot more fun than the other way around.
So here is a 3rd and 5.
You go, Jelly.
Bryant over the middle. Tipped and incomplete. Off the hands of Ridley. And there is the first successful defense of a 3rd down conversion today. And it looks like they're going to go for it. I guess when your offense is clicking, you might as well take advantage of it.
Well, based on what we saw the first possession for both teams, it looks like it's going to be one of those days as far as a shootout.
4th and 5. Ryan gonna go down at midfield. Geno Atkins led the charge. And the Bengals take over on downs. 3 minutes, 40 seconds to play in the first quarter. We're tied at 7. That's a live look outside Mercedes-Benz Stadium. This is a beautiful, beautiful structure. And it's going to be great for the Super Bowl.
Oh, it's one of the best venues in all of the National Football League. They did a great job with this one.
Cincinnati takes over. Just short of midfield. And all kinds of movement up front, and back and forth. Vic Beasley healthy enough to jump offside, it appears.
Neutral zone infraction, defense number 44. 5-yard penalty, remains first down.
Yeah, going back to that 4th down, that was a huge decision by Dan Quinn on 4th and 5. And surprisingly, Cincinnati played man-to-man. It looked like they had a zone play called.
Well, I thought for a minute there they were just going to do the hard count, try and get them to draw off sides because you're giving up great field position to Cincinnati by missing that. But I like the aggressiveness. He knows he's having issues on defense, and after that first series, he's like, listen, we got to do some things offensively to change this up.
Bernard inside the 45 to the 43. Let's go back to that Tyler Eifert touchdown catch.
Well, what a huge addition, having him healthy again. But great job by Andy Dalton, spreading it out, pumping right with his eyes, and coming back to the nod seam. Wide open.
We drew up earlier how the safety was working to A.J. Green's side, which isolated Eifert. Eifert, missed most of the last 2 years, 2016, 2017, with back and ankle injuries. He's one of the best tight ends in the league, receiving tight ends in the league when he's healthy. That's an important piece for them moving forward this season.
Yeah, he played in just 10 games over the last 2 years. Play fake. Dalton going to go deep. Down the near sideline. A.J. Green diving at the goal line, and it's incomplete. Robert Alford covering. Update time. Let's get you back to New York. JB.
A first for Green Bay.
That's right, JB. Here's an offensive version of a pick six. You got the pick on the outside, flat route coming out. Jimmy Graham with the hesitation and flat. That's his first TD of the season. Packers would miss their extra point. They lead 6-0.
Greg, Trent, Bruce, and Melanie.
All right, JB. Nate, thank you much. 3rd and 2 for Dalton and the Bengals. And that's enough for the first down inside the 40 to the 39. Giovanni Bernard.
Yeah, I really love the 2nd down, go for it play. They had a good manageable 3rd down. If they miss it, take the home run shot, come back. You got a run or pass option, you get a good running play. first down.
Well, and I think they're in the field position, whereas if, let's say, they only get 1 yard there, they could go for it on fourth down. Instead of trying a 58-yard field goal, you're in a position to where you could potentially go for it, just like Atlanta did. Atlanta's a little more at midfield.
Yeah. They're different from 4th and 2 and 4th and 5.
Right.
Rookie Mark Walton is in at running back, the 4th-round pick out of Miami. And the screen is incomplete, intended for Walton.
Well, and I don't want to over-exaggerate this, but this could have scored. They had blockers downfield on the secondary. They had 3 offensive linemen and only 1 defender out there. If they're able to make that connection, they've caught the Falcons. As you're going to see. This is going to come out here. You get the linemen pulling out. You get blocks upfield. You've got 3. Watch it when you get out in space. You got 3 offensive linemen.
Oh, yeah.
And only 1 defender. I don't know how they're going to stop it from getting in the end zone.
And again, that's Gio Bernard's number 1 play, the screen. I don't know why you'd substitute and take him out with his great hands.
On 2nd and 10. Dalton looks right, throws right, and now.
Well, Marvin Lewis ran over to the officials and called a timeout. Yep.
Yeah.
Team second charge timeout. Be 30 seconds.
That's twice the Bengals had real late substitutions.
So, 2nd and 10 on the field when we come back after this.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by McDonald's. And by the Home Depot. More saving, more doing.
That is the Center for Civil and Human Rights here in Atlanta, located in Pemberton Place, right around the corner from where we are, dedicated to the civil rights movement in the United States, and opened in 2014. 2nd and 10 for the Cincinnati offense. Dalton out here to the near side, complete to Walton out of the backfield. And his forward progress will be marked at about the 35.5 yard line. Coach, you were talking about how bad substitution has cost Cincinnati timeouts twice so far.
They had 2 late substitutions, and when that happens, the umpire has to go up and hold off the quarterback to allow the defense to substitute. They've burned 2, and it's going to be critical probably at halftime.
And now a 3rd down situation once again for Cincinnati, 3rd and 6.
Well, and it looks like the Falcons are going to go man-to-man again.
Dalton for Bernard, out of the backfield. Bernard has the first down and more. Knocked out of bounds inside the 20-yard line by DeMonte KZ.
Again, a little slip screen to the running back. They got somebody out in front, and this is what surprised me about Giovanni Bernard not being in on the last screen play. That was really close to having linemen downfield.
Well, and they had the swing pass, so McKinley was coming off the end, and he actually got chopped down. He was the 198 you saw go flying through the picture there, trying to push him out of bounds, but he got chopped, got up, and tried chasing him down. Great athletic move, but they were able to outflank him because of that chop block.
Bengals back in the red zone. They've scored on 30 straight red zone drives. This is Tyler Boyd, and Boyd reaching for first down yardage. He's about 2 yards short of it.
Well, you don't hear much about A.J. Green being a blocker, but he did a great job blocking for Tyler Boyd on that screen. Real team player.
Well, that's the thing that impresses me most. You consider these 2 star wide receivers, A.J. Green and Julio Jones. Well, they just want to win. And yeah, the stats are nice, but they'll do the dirty work. They'll do the blocking. They'll be the setup guy to draw coverage so another guy gets open.
Yeah, you'll never hear either one of those guys worry about their touches.
On 2nd and 2, Bernard has the first down, breaks it to the outside for the touchdown.
Coach Quinn talked all day Friday about leverage. They lost their leverage again from outside in. He bounces outside for an easy touchdown.
Robert Alford was the corner to that side, and he has outside contained. You need to try keeping that leverage to the outside.
But we heard a lot of talk about leverage this weekend,
yes,
too, with
by
both coaches.
And got to turn that back into your help. You can't get beat outside.
Well, it's leverage and trust. That word, so leverage was a big word. Trust was also another one. If you're outside, you got to trust the guys that are responsible for the inside are going to be there as well.
The extra point is up and good. And with just 12 seconds remaining in the first quarter, the Bengals lead at 14-7. We're back in 30 seconds after this from Progressive Insurance. Just 12 seconds to play here in the opening quarter, and we've already had 3 touchdowns scored. Giovanni Bernard on the board for the Bengals, who went 51 yards in 8 plays in just under 3.5 minutes. You know, you're looking at all the offense on this field. You kind of wonder what it would be like if Joe Mixon and Devontae Freeman were available.
Yeah, that would be a big difference in the running game for both these teams. But the Bengals are one of the best screen teams in the league, and Bernard is one of the best screen backs.
Marvin Hall will not get a chance to run this one back. And the touchback will bring the Falcons out to their 25-yard line. Falcons got off on the wrong foot, losing their opener to the Philadelphia Eagles, came back to beat Carolina, and then, well, we kept bringing up that game last week, overtime in New Orleans, they fell 43-37. And in both those losses, they were leading in the fourth quarter. Here's Coleman. Coleman across the 30 to about the 32. And with that, time will run down here in the first quarter. Nick Vigil on the tackle. Played 15 good minutes. 14-7 Bengals. We're coming back to Atlanta right after this. You're watching the NFL on CBS, the home of Super Bowl 53. Ready to start the second quarter here in Atlanta. No lack of offense in the first quarter, and we talked about those third down conversions. These teams, the worst at stopping opponents on third downs in the league so far this year. Cincinnati the worst, and Atlanta right behind them. There's only been 1 third down conversion. That hasn't worked so far today.
You give both teams credit. They're doing something different than they've been doing, just not working.
2nd and 4. Ryan flips it to Coleman. Coleman grabbed as he crosses the 35-yard line. Dre Kirkpatrick and Jordan Evans combining for the tackle, but it's enough for a first down.
Both these teams primarily are zone defenses. That allows the quarterback to have easy checkdowns. And on those checkdowns, both these teams have averaging 8 to 10 yards. And that's huge. Easy for a quarterback.
Ryan gonna go deep down the near sideline, just overthrew his intended receiver, Mohamed Sanu. Update time once again, back to New York. JB and Nate.
Houston looking for its first win of the season.
That's right. It's a mystery. You're going to need Sherlock Holmes to figure it out. But I say it's elementary, my dear Watson. And Watson to Fuller for the touchdown right there. Houston, they lead 14-7.
You know, Greg loves Super Sleuth movies.
Hey.
All right, back to Greg Gumbel.
I was going to say, did Nate just go Sherlock Holmes on it?
Nate started that off. I wasn't sure where he was going, and then he brought it back in and landed the plane. I like it, Nate.
2nd and 10. This is Coleman. Coleman across the 40 to about the 43. And Preston Brown with the stop, and that will bring up a 3rd and about 5.
Well, 3rd and 5, and you see the 3 guys running on the field. You got Sanu, you got Jones, and you got Ridley. They're all coming back out.
I don't think I'd ever take them off.
Right, I know. I was like, I can't believe all 3 were on the sideline on that one. So now it's all about matchup for Matt Ryan, finding that best matchup.
Falcons 3 out of 4 haven't had far to go. This is a 3rd and 5. Ryan, he eludes the rush, pulls it down, now completes it to the 45-yard line. Sanu with the catch and a first down.
The protection that Matt Ryan has, the Bengals rush 5. They have man-to-man underneath, but Ryan's ability to slide up in the top pocket and buy time. But that offensive line, you have all 5 guys one-on-one, and they give him that amount of time, you got no chance as a defense.
Ryan throwing, and that's complete. Julio Jones.
Again, you got Julio on the inside working against zone. That's stealing. And he is such a great run after the catch guy. That's a 5-yard gain, ends up being 11.
You know, this looks like a nightmare for defensive coordinators on both sides of the field. Fake to Ito Smith. Ryan rolls and throws it away.
Bengals are doing a great job on the bootleg stuff so far. They kind of have a beat on. The Falcons love going downtown on first and short second downs, and they're playing the bootleg extremely well.
To the side that Matt Ryan was rolling out, Ridley had a post route. He was one-on-one with Dre Kirkpatrick. Kirkpatrick stayed with him stride for stride. So Julio Jones working across the field, that secondary route that you want to look for. Jesse Bates came down and double teamed, and there was nowhere for Ryan to go. Excellent decision throwing it away.
2nd and 10 now. On the ground with Ito Smith. Finds running room right up the middle. Inside the 20 to the 18-yard line. Nick Vigil with the tackle.
Well, that's what you just can't have, Trent. You know what I mean? You do a great job defending the downtown play. You know, second down, you got to stop the run, and they get 11 yards. I mean, right up the middle.
Well, it kind of sounds like you got to pick your poison now, right?
Well, you really do, especially if they have all 3 wide receivers on the field. That's what makes them so dangerous.
We can see from that view of the replay just that blocking up front, and Ito Smith just taking his time with the patience. He sees that it collapses, and he's able to cut it back for the game.
The pitch for Ito Smith. Cuts it back, spins away, and then wrapped up by number 50, Jordan Evans.
That was a pretty good bet. That was not going to be a pass when you didn't have any of those 3 wide receivers we talked about in the game. Had the 2 tight ends and a fullback. Really good pursuit by the Bengals on that toss sweep.
Pickup of just 1 as we duck under 11.5 to play here in the first half. 14-7 Cincinnati. Atlanta threatening. Tevin Coleman in the backfield on 2nd and 9. Ryan going for it. Wide open for the touchdown is Logan Paulson.
Excellent job of spacing by the Falcons. They completely caught him off guard. They went 3 over 2 because Sanu and Julio were down at the bottom. So you got 3 over 2 here, but then you got your double tight ends. One going inside where the touchdown happens, clear it out, and you run a hitch. So if you're Matt Ryan, you know you've got the safety over the top, and you've got nothing but one-on-ones. Tevin Coleman working underneath if you want an outlet, but instead they let that crease go, and just like what happened on the other end with Tyler Eifert working up the crease, you know the safety's going to help the other way.
For Atlanta, 10 straight touchdowns in the red zone. I say gunfight at the OK Corral at the start of the day. Which one of these guys is Doc Holliday? Hey, tomorrow, Cedric the Entertainer and Max Greenfield star in the new comedy critics call Laugh Out Loud Funny. The Neighborhood premieres tomorrow at 8/7 Central, only CBS. We've already had 2 ties and 2 lead changes in this game, and there's still 11 minutes to play in the first half.
No shortage of gunfire in this one. I mean, these quarterbacks are lighting it up, and whichever one of these defenses is going to have to step up to stop somebody to win this game.
Well, are you going to be able to get a sack fumble? Are you going to be able to get a tip ball that gets intercepted? Those are going to be the game changers in this when you have both offenses rolling the way they are.
How about just a stop? We have seen neither hide nor hair of a punter in this game. Alex Erickson deep, and will not bring this one back. And let's go downstairs to Melanie.
Well, Greg, we know this Falcons defense is missing some key players. Well, defensive coordinator Marquand Manuel was just talking to the secondary before they went back out. He said, right now, guys, we're out of whack. Let's calm down and take it one play at a time. He said, I want everyone communicating. It's all about communication, Greg.
Melanie, thank you. DeMonte KZ, Brian Poole starting at safety in place of Keanu Neal and Ricardo Allen. Those are key members of a defense to lose.
Well, and the key, Melanie hit on it, it's got to be the trust part of it. You've got to do your job and rely on your teammate.
This is Mark Walton trying to turn the corner on the right side, and he'll pick up maybe 2. Brian Poole making that tackle. It'll be 2nd and 8.
And like Coach Quinn said, everything about their defense is built on leverage and trusting You do your technique. If I'm the outside guy, make sure it stays inside of me. My help will get there. And they had a little miscommunication. The Bengals were getting them a little bit with formation change with those two young safeties.
Dalton and the Bengals from their own 27. Dalton play fakes. Got it away just as he was hit from behind. And this is Walton. And Walton out of bounds at midfield.
Walton coming out of the backfield. You have Eifert is going to clear up the field. He takes two defenders with him, and nobody goes with Walton coming out, sneaking out into that right flat. But then the open field spin. Watch Pooley drops his head, tries to hit him with his shoulder instead of wrapping up, and Walton just spins right off of it. Heck of a move.
Boy, there's another issue the coach talked about, tackling.
It is a lost start in the NFL.
Dalton for Walton, and it goes nowhere.
Grady Jarrett splitting the double team, getting into the backfield, and nowhere for the back to go.
A little bit of a slower developing counter play. They've been successful fastballing it on the zone play. Tried to counter play, and Grady Jarrett's one of the best in the league at splitting double teams.
You guys made mention of it. Grady Jarrett was big talking to us the other day about having to trust your teammates. Bernard back in, 2nd and 12. Dalton has his man, and across the 40 to about the 39, and it looks like a first down. Tyler Eifert on the receiving end.
Can't say enough how important it is for the Bengals in their passing game to have Eifert back on the field. He creates such matchup issues. Whether you're putting him on a linebacker, like in this case, Olakun is trying to cover him one-on-one, just go run an out route.
Guys, got no chance. I mean, he's a wide receiver and a tight end body. He is really special.
Made mention of it before. He played a total of 10 games over the 2016 and 2017 season. Dalton gonna go for it all. He's got his man at the 10 to the 5. Touchdown, John Ross. And looks like he might have hurt himself going across the goal line.
Well, that's big for Andy Dalton. That's a lot of trust. John Ross kind of cost him a couple interceptions last week. He was in his spot and he was running fast. I hope he's not hurt.
Well, Ross coming into this game, his longest catch of the season was 9 yards. And he's the fastest, or one of the fastest guys in the NFL. That time showcasing. You could see him there before he even crossed the goal line, reaching for that left leg.
We'll check on him. Meanwhile, the extra point attempt by Randy Bullock is good. 8:11 to play. Here in the first half, 21-14 Cincinnati.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Corona Extra. Find your beach. Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. And by the well-connected 2019 Lincoln MKC.
This is a very cool thing, guys. On Tuesday, the Bengals teamed up with Cincinnati Children's Hospital Medical Center to host a Play 60 event for students from South Avondale Elementary School. The event encourages kids to have a lifelong commitment to health and to fitness. Well, are we having any fun offensively?
I love those offensive numbers. Coach and I are up here giddy. It's not a good defensive day, but right now both quarterbacks having some fun.
Marvin Hall going to get a chance to run this one back from 2 yards deep. 20. And out to about 21 or 22. Let's go back to that touchdown.
Well, the shift by Giovanni Bernard to the outside, all that does is it tells Andy Dalton that he's got zone coverage. Keep an eye on the safety because that's where he's looking. Andy Dalton's going to keep his eyes here because he's got a 3-by-1 to the left or the top of the screen, and then you've got Ross in the bottom slot with the change release, Ross actually to the outside. They do the change release. He goes up the numbers. But by looking off to the left where the 3 side is in the zone, that's what creates the space and allows that touchdown to happen. Now we just got to find out if Ross is injured for the game or if he can come back in.
Yeah, you saw him reach down inside of his left thigh. First down from the 21-yard line. Coleman. For about 3 to the 24. Incidentally, week 11 of the 2010 season against Buffalo. It's the last time the Cincinnati Bengals scored 3 touchdowns in their first 3 drives of the game.
And if you're the Falcons right now, you got to match. I mean, it's going to be one of those games where we can't punt. We got to match it point for point, and it doesn't always have to be touchdowns. It's just momentum.
Well, now we know why they went for it on 4th and 5 at midfield. They knew it was going to be this type of game.
On 2nd and 7, this is Tevin Coleman, and Coleman with running room across the 30, close to a first down. Let's check in once again with JB and Nate in New York.
Fans are saying TJ.
That's right. Go TJ. That's my TJ out of the backfield. A little check down and watch him skate on in for the 31-yard touchdown. That's his 2nd receiving TD of the season. Jags up 13-0.
Hey, Greg, that's the effect that Nate is having on us in the studio. Back to Greg Gumbel.
Guys just have too much fun. Just too much fun. Measurement shows a first down. Of course, it's going to be a first down. That's the kind of day it is here.
Well, you got to give Steve Sarkisian credit. He stuck with the running game. 1st and 2nd down, got him in that short 3rd down, quarterback sneak. I look for touchdown check down soon, though.
Matt Ryan with time over the middle and batted down at the 45-yard line. Darquez Denard knocked it away from Mohamed Sanu.
Well, that was it, Coach. Did you see Julio going deep? I thought he was going to go deep over the top because they were able to catch Jesse Bates sitting a little bit. Nice play by the Bengals, knocking it away.
Yeah, really good play by Darquez Denard, not pass interference, grabbing him with his left hand, just got his right hand in. I thought Mohamed Sanu could have attacked that ball a little bit better. He kind of sat and waited on it.
I'd like to see him come back and attack it, but you're right. Denard, excellent job of not putting that left hand on the back or around the waist that so many guys do with it, ultimately gets called for a PI.
And we get a timeout on the field with 6:33 to play here in the first half. When we resume, it'll be 2nd down and 10. We'll take a break. Back to Mercedes-Benz Stadium right after this. And we're back quicker than you thought we'd be. Glad you joined us for this shootout of immense proportion. We knew that defense was going to be at a premium, but Trent, did you think it was going to be that big a premium?
I didn't. I thought they would make adjustments, just because we thought that's what was going to happen. Coming into today, it'd be a big offensive firepower. I thought, we knew about the injuries on Atlanta's defense and some of the struggles that Cincinnati's had defensively, but both offenses are rolling right now.
2nd and 10 for the Falcons. This is Coleman. And Geno Atkins makes the stop on that, and we go down to Melanie.
Well, Greg, I've just been keeping my eye on John Ross down here on the sideline. He's been down here stretching out the left side of his groin. He used a stim device on it briefly down here on the bench, but he ran up and down the sidelines once, and I heard him say, "I'm fine." So he should be good to go to return to this game, Greg.
Melanie, thank you.
Well, I would have thought the way he acted that he would go under the blue tent and get wrapped up and everything else, but whatever that magic stim unit is he used, it worked.
Here's a 3rd and 7 now. Ryan looks left, throws left. That's complete and good for a first down to Mohamed Sanu.
Really unsynchronized, right? Sanu pointed back and let Matt Ryan know the blitz was coming. Matt knew he was unblocked, stood in there and hit him for the first down. Really good communication between those guys just by looking at each other.
Well, and that's an excellent job of the route combination. You had a high corner route, which ended up getting double teamed, and then you had the linebacker not getting enough width, and that's why you were able to get that pass in there to get the first down.
Atlanta now 6 out of 7 on 3rd down. Ryan rolled. Gonna go deep. Coming across the field. Sanu, he's got him. 36 yards.
Well, the play fake by Matt Ryan. He'll come out and work back and set up left, but it's going to be the route by Mohamed Sanu. He comes and works across the field. It's the hard play fake. Watch the defensive line, the linebackers, they all collapsed, and Matt Ryan boots that way. So they're thinking he's going to throw to the right side of the field. Instead, Sanu working his way all the way across. Ryan putting an accurate ball up the field where only Sanu can get it.
Great route, because he's sold it good enough for Jesse Bates. Jumped it. He's got to stay inside that route.
4.5 to play in the first half. Ryan pulls it down, shovels it ahead to Ito Smith. And Smith down just inside the 15-yard line. I'm just going to do a public service announcement here and say the punter for Cincinnati is Kevin Huber and the punter for Atlanta is Matt Bosher.
They're not going to get much action today, I don't think, unless they're holding for field goals and extra points.
Matt Ryan was close to crossing the line of scrimmage at the last minute. He's like, do I want to take the hit or do I want to flip this and let him get the 5-6 yards and let him take the hit? And smart decision by Matt Ryan.
Yeah, the Falcons are doing a great job of taking shots on first down.
This is Smith. And Smith is wrapped up at about the line of scrimmage. Sean Williams, Preston Brown converging.
Well, Sean Williams that time maintained the outside leverage that Alford for the Falcons didn't do when they were down in this area of the field. And got to give Williams credit. He trusted that inside leverage was going to happen. Now, Ito Smith tried a little spin move and getting out of there, but by maintaining that leverage, that's what allowed that tackle to take place and bring up this third down.
Yeah, this is a big third down because field goals aren't going to win this game. You need touchdowns.
Smith in the backfield with Ryan on 3rd and 1. Going to throw for it. Throwing on the slant. Touchdown, Calvin Ridley. The first-round draft pick out of Alabama.
Excellent read by Matt Ryan. You got the slant that's going to get right behind. The safety drops to that side. When the safety drops and all of a sudden he chases the running back on the swing route, the flat route going to that side, that leaves that window for Ridley to get the touchdown, and Ryan with an accurate throw.
Matt Bryant for the extra point. We are tied once again. Matt Ryan right on the money to the rookie. A reminder for you, coming up on the Verizon Halftime Report, JB, Phil, Nate, Boomer, Coach Cowher have all the latest NFL scores and highlights, all coming up on the Verizon Halftime Report. You know, I have to ask you guys, of the nature of this game as it has gone, why would you ever kick on 4th down if you have a reasonable shot of making it with the way you're playing offense today?
Sooner or later, you have to trust your defense. Sooner or later. Not so far, but sooner or later. You got to make some adjustments.
Alex Erickson is deep and will not bring this one back. So out to the 25-yard line. Take a look at the numbers being put up by Matt Ryan and Andy Dalton today. That's kind of like printing your own resume.
That's not even halftime. How about Matt Ryan? Matt Ryan, 7 touchdowns, no interceptions the last game and a half.
You know, this is big because last week the Falcons didn't finish the half. They missed a scoring opportunity. The Saints went down and got it. These last 2:55 are going to be huge on who wins this game.
Well, and remember, Cincinnati had to burn 2 timeouts in the first quarter.
Dalton still with the ball. Dalton throwing this side of the field. Nice grab made by number 83, Tyler Boyd. Timeout situation. Bengals have 1 remaining. Atlanta has 2.
Jordan Richards was running right underneath that. I thought if he had just turned his head around, he was going to be able to get a hand on that ball, but excellent catch by Boyd.
Yeah, he's been a great addition. He's really coming on for the Bengals. They're excited about having him.
On first down from the 35, play fake to Giovanni Bernard, and then the pitch to him. And nothing at all there as he's brought down at about the 33, maybe the 34. And it'll be 2nd and 11 as we come up on the 2-minute warning. Here's the warning. Offenses are going to be doing damage today. 21-21. We're back after this.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Lowe's. And by Verizon. The best unlimited is on Verizon, America's most awarded network.
That's Skyview Atlanta, the 20-story Ferris wheel in Centennial Park. Welcome back, everybody. A reminder, the Verizon halftime report coming your way. Once we hit halftime, all the guys back in New York with the Verizon halftime report. 2 minutes to play. Andy Dalton and the Bengals with 1 timeout. Over the middle. That's complete. At midfield, A.J. Green, and we have a penalty flag.
I think Alford was there a little bit, wrapping him up a little bit early. And AJ was still able to pull that ball in.
Pass interference, defense number 23. The penalties decline, result of the play is a first down.
Well, that's huge because that's an extra timeout for the Bengals because they wasted it too early and they've got that 1 left. So now Atlanta, they have to stop him. And sooner or later, we're going to have to give some pressure. I mean, he's standing back there all day, Trent.
Well, that's well, you know, Coach, you know, if you decide to bring pressure, then you're leaving everybody on an island. But you're right. Whatever it is isn't working right now. You got to try mixing it up.
The penalty is accepted. The ball's replaced at the spot of the foul. First down.
So Sean Smith corrects that decision. And the line of scrimmage is now midfield. And a new set of downs for Dalton. Dalton over the middle, and that is complete. Looks like about a 9-yard pickup to the 41-yard line to Tyler Eifert. And now we got a late flag.
Dead ball, personal foul, defense number 21. 15-yard penalty added to the end of the run, automatic first down.
That one's on Desmond Trufant.
Watch Trufant come into the picture here late. He's going to just shove in the back Tyler Boyd, push him over the pile. That's an easy one to call for the officials.
And that looks like total defensive frustration.
Yeah, no, you just can't have those at the end of the half. I mean, that's just being selfish and putting your team in a bad situation.
So the Bengals at the 26. On the quick slant to the 15-yard line, A.J. Green. And that's another first down.
Cincinnati huddling up. No need to be in too big of a hurry here. You don't want to give the Falcons time left on the clock before the half.
And the question for the Falcons right now, do I use my timeouts to give my offense time to get back on the field and get a score before half?
I know we touched on a couple plays ago, Coach. I'm waiting for that guy, that linebacker, that safety, somebody to come in on a blitz.
Here's the screen to Bernard. Bernard to the 5 and down to about the 1.
Well, you talked about Bernard and how good he is at the screens.
Yeah, and this is the Falcons' problem last week. They couldn't finish the half, and they're struggling again right now to get this stop.
And now the Falcons use a timeout.
Atlanta, team second.
They're second here in the first half, so each team has 1 timeout remaining. Have you guys ever been a part of a game where every single thing seemed to work? Because that's what this feels like.
Those are fun days.
Yeah,
those are fun days.
Is that called 7-on-7 during the week?
you know, you feel great, then you look at the scoreboard and say, we're tied. What the heck? Something. So if you're the head coach, you feel good because your offense is playing good, and you're struggling because your defense is giving up points right after they score every time.
Well, and I really think Cincinnati and Bill Lazor, I think the reason he called that last screen is because he thought, okay, at some point in time they're going to bring pressure. Let's catch them with a screen with them bringing pressure. They only rushed 4, and yet they were still able to get a big chunk of yards with that screen play, setting up 1st and goal at the 1.
Yeah, the Bengals have a very athletic offensive line, and they do a great job of getting out and staying up and not falling down, getting up and getting in guys' ways. And when you got a runner like Bernard who just knows how to set those blocks on screens.
Cincinnati has brought the big defensive end Sam Hubbard, the rookie from Ohio State, into play on the offensive line. Bernard, left side to the end zone, touchdown.
With the way this game is going, Coach, what's the one negative? They may have scored too fast.
Yeah, they gave him 44 seconds
and Atlanta has a timeout. So excellent drive by Cincinnati, taking advantage of Atlanta, taking the lanes where they had them. Atlanta with a couple of silly penalties as well.
I'm going to give you a prediction right now. Post-game, the losing team, somebody is going to say, we didn't lose, we just ran out of time.
Yeah, and that helped to the Falcons last week. And they never got the ball in overtime because they couldn't stop New Orleans in overtime from that touchdown drive.
6 plays, 75 yards.
Start on my ready for play whistle. Please reset it to 20 seconds.
So Sean Smith making an adjustment.
Thank you.
To the play clock. 44 seconds on the game clock. And here is Randy Bullock as Cincinnati looks for a 7-point lead. And they have it. Two rushing touchdowns on the day for Gio Bernard. Andy Dalton's been throwing the ball well.
Well, only 2 incompletions, 13 of 15 on the day. He's been accurate. He's had time in the pocket. Accurate up the field and underneath. They've utilized the screen well. John Ross getting involved. Came up limping on that touchdown, but he came back in the game.
It's got to feel like it's 7-on-7 for him.
Big question mark coming into this game is how's Dalton going to respond after throwing 4 picks in that tough loss a week ago. I think he's answered it pretty well.
Yeah, he's a cool customer back there. He's the leader of the team and very quiet leader, but he knows what he's doing and he knows how to lead men. That's for sure. He's a heck of a guy.
Marvin Hall is deep. And this will be a touchback. So as Matt Ryan comes back onto the field, what's his plan of attack?
Well, I think you have everything at your disposal. 44 seconds is a long time, and with that one timeout, if you get a chance for a big chunk in the middle of the field, now don't dump it off for a 5-yard gain and you have to waste the timeout or go up and clock it. If you're going to keep it in bounds, try and get a big chunk out of it, and then that's where you can burn your timeout. Then you can utilize some other things. But I think 44 seconds and one timeout, you still have everything at your disposal.
There's no doubt, but there's no time for a handoff or a draw or anything, a screen. You got to push it up the field, and hopefully you got 2 plays called in the huddle right here.
Ryan, the sideline. That's complete and out of bounds at the 30-yard line is Coleman.
Well, and the short throw is fine if you're getting out of bounds. And by taking that, seeing what the Bengals were doing in coverage, now all of a sudden Steve Sarkisian has been able to say, okay, this is what they're doing defensively. They're going to play a little soft. We can, get ourselves, even if it is 5 yards, that took 4 seconds.
Yeah, you can nickel and dime it the whole way down the field if they're not going to defend the sideline.
2nd and 6. The line of scrimmage, the 29. And we get a flag and whistles.
I think they're getting Sanu. I think he was bouncing towards the line of scrimmage on that motion.
False start. Offense, number 12. 5-yard penalty. Remains 2nd down.
These are drive killers because you got the matchup. You got Julio in the middle versus cover 2 on the middle linebacker. The exact thing they want right here. And a pre-snap penalty, just inexcusable.
2nd and 11 with 40 seconds to play. Ryan over the middle has his man at the 35-yard line, and busting out for a couple of more is Julio Jones. Falcons quick to the line. Under half a minute.
Well, don't spike it. You get up there, call the play just like Matt Ryan's doing.
Good protection this time. Coming this way to Sanu, and Sanu out of bounds at the 45. Stops the clock with 18 seconds to play.
Oh, and I'm fine, coach, here. 18 seconds. You tell me what you would tell your guys. If you go ahead and hit that middle of the field for a 15-yard gain, 20-yard gain, similar to what you did just a play ago with Julio Jones where he did that wrap route around the linebackers because the safeties were deep, I'm fine with that. Go ahead and use the timeout then, and you can still set things up.
Yeah, you essentially need 15 yards right now for your field goal, and you need to get points out of this drive.
Ryan under pressure and incomplete. Jones coming across the field, covered by William Jackson.
Well, we're waiting for one of these teams to dial up some pressure, and Cincinnati did. They brought a guy up the slot and a linebacker, so 6 guys rushing on that down.
Yeah, it appeared the running back missed his assignment because he should have had the slot blitz over there coming off the right side. Matt knew it, didn't see it, got rid of the football. Again, like you said, Trent, you still have time to get these 15 yards, call the timeout, and get your field goal.
3rd and 4. If you're looking for the first down, they need the 49-yard line. Ryan, this side of the field, that is complete and out of bounds. Julio Jones. First down with 9 seconds.
Well, I thought that was really gutsy. They had Julio Jones, and they rolled the safety down to that side, leaving middle of the field open. I thought for sure they're going to roll safety over the top and not allow that to happen.
That was a great throw and trust by Matt Ryan. I mean, he put it in double coverage, just dropped it right over top of the flat defender.
Well, and by allowing that sideline route and letting him get out of bounds, now they still have the timeout, so you can still use the whole field, call your timeout, and set up for points.
The receivers have to be smart. They have to get down after the catch so they don't run the clock out before the timeout.
Quick pass to the near side. This is Ito Smith. He goes down at the 37-yard line, and Atlanta will use that final timeout to stop the clock with 2 seconds to play.
Well, you can see Ito Smith was smart about it. He decided to turn it up, and he was either told in the huddle or he knew it.
Well, that's one of those things. In the huddle, you have alert down timeout. So you're going to catch the ball, get down, call timeout.
So here is Matt Bryant, who has made 6 straight field goals from 50 or more yards. He won't be that far back, will he? Let's see. Line of scrimmage is the 37.
Well, it should be 55.
Should be 55. Mm-hmm. He's hit 13 of his last 14 from 50 or more yards. And Cincinnati will use its last timeout.
Timeout. Cincinnati, team's 3rd and final. 30 seconds.
Coach, you a believer in making guys think about it?
You know, when you have a veteran, he's probably happy they call timeout. He gets to stretch a little bit more. If you had a young kicker out there,
right.
But I think they took the timeout a little bit too soon. They weren't quite ready for the snap. You'd like to ice him right before the snap.
Probably nothing more depressing than calling that timeout just as the ball is snapped and they missed the field goal.
There's always a chance of that with a 55-yarder. You don't want to give them two chances.
So Matt Bryant from 55 yards. In this high-scoring first half, of course it's good.
What a kick.
What a first half.
The Falcons needed that. They need to go in with something positive happening.
The second highest scoring first half in the league this season. Tampa Bay and New Orleans scored 55. Cincinnati and Atlanta didn't do badly here this afternoon in the first half. We have come to the end of the first half with the score. The Bengals 28, Atlanta 24. Halftime is next after these first half highlights from Verizon and a word from your local station. Welcome back to Mercedes-Benz Stadium here in Atlanta as we get set for the second half kickoff. The Bengals leading at 28-24. Take a look at the first half highlight presented by DirecTV. The one that got the Bengals rolling, it's Andy Dalton to Tyler Eifert for the touchdown. They lead it by 4, 28-14. Greg Gumbel, Bruce Arians, and Trent Green. What entirely different rooms on both sides of the field it must have been at halftime. Nothing going wrong offensively, everything going wrong defensively.
Well, I think, yeah, if you're both offensive coordinators, you're both quarterbacks, you're extremely excited by the game plan and the way the execution is taking place. And as happy as you are on offense, both defensive coordinators have to be extremely frustrated. They've got to do something different here in the second half.
Have you had those days?
Yes, I have.
A lot of them?
And no, not too many, thank God. The defense was pretty solid. And both coordinators they have a dilemma. Play man-to-man, I'm getting burned one-on-one. Play zone, they pick me apart. The pass rush for one of these two teams has to get there and take this game over.
Cincinnati getting their hands on the football first. And we'll come out to the 25-yard line. We go down to Melanie Collins. Melanie.
Thank you, Greg. Well, no surprise, the theme was very similar among both head coaches. They want to get more stops defensively and get off the field on third down. Marvin Lewis told me, he said to his guys, we've got to settle down and use proper leverage in our tackling. Dan Quinn said, it's those shots down the seam that are killing us, but it's all correctable, and he expects to see better defense from his team in the second half.
All right, Melanie, thank you. Only 5 times previously has the league in the last 10 years seen a first half with no punts and no turnovers. This is Giovanni Bernard looking for running room around the corner on the left side. And across the 25 to the 26 as you look at numbers from the first half. Boy, look at the passing yards. Look at the total yards for just one half of football.
Well, and the thing that's highlighted there is the third down. Coach, you touched on that at the beginning of the game with some of the points you were saying. You have the 31st and 32nd ranked defenses on third down. You have to find ways to get them off the field.
Yeah, somehow, some way. Blitzes. Cincinnati came in with a couple of blitzes near the 2-minute drill and stopped that drive to a field goal.
John Ross, who appeared to suffer an injury in the first half, is out there on the field. Here's a little short screen to tight end Tyler Eifert. And he is out to about the 29-yard line, and we have a player down on the field, and it is Tyler Eifert.
Well, and it's not what the Bengals need to see. Eifert, as we've mentioned several times in this game. And that looks, that right foot and right ankle.
Oh.
Yeah, we don't need to see that replay again. That's, wow.
Hit by Devondre Campbell. This is not good for the Cincinnati Bengals. We'll take a break.
Broadcast is copyrighted by NFL Productions for the private use of our audience. Any other use of this telecast or any pictures, descriptions, or accounts of the game without the consent of NFL Productions is prohibited.
Medical personnel continue to tend to Tyler Eifert down on the field after having suffered an injury that is just too gruesome to show you again. But this is a young man who has been trying to come back from injuries and was doing a pretty good job of it, too.
Oh, there's no doubt. I mean, he is such a weapon, and the statistics just bear when he plays for the Cincinnati Bengals how much more offense they have. This would be a huge injury for them going forward.
Well, he was leading the team in receptions today, 4 catches for 38 yards and that 1 touchdown that we showed coming out of halftime. It's a matchup, right? That's when he's on the field, it's a matchup problem for the defense because we know about the receivers that the Bengals have, but when you have a tight end that can run and can catch the way that Eifert can, this is a big loss for them, and you can see the concern on all the teammates' faces because of the nature of the injury and how bad it looked.
We had said earlier injuries had limited him to 10 games over the 2016 and 2017 seasons.
And he was back. He was back full speed, playing the way he always played, which was Pro Bowl, all-pro level. And again, you just hate to see this happen to great players and great guys.
So they will cart him off the field. Tyler Eifert, the 6th-year tight end out of Notre Dame.
Well, and having experienced some pretty major injuries during my career, I can tell you right now, obviously the pain of the injury, but it's the mental part of knowing that the season's over. That, he knows what lies ahead of him in terms of rehab and in terms of recovery. So that's the mental struggle that you start going through. You start putting your mind through those things. So.
Yeah, and everybody, our prayers are out for him. And for the Bengals.
Not just the Bengals, the Falcons too.
Yeah, I mean, now for the Bengals, as a coach, we got to regroup and we got to go. We all feel terrible, but they've got some other tight ends, and sometimes it seems very cold. But you got to go on and pick up for him.
Well, and that's the nature of it, right? I mean, it's not an ideal situation because you feel concerned for a teammate and his family and what they're all going through, but ultimately, yeah, you do. You just have to get ready for the next snap, the next play, the next series, the next game.
His right ankle was caught underneath the man who tackled him, Devondre Campbell. Certainly a perfectly legal and legitimate hit, and it was just a matter of position and circumstance.
You can see the emotion on Eifert's face.
And the Bengals, they can't let this be a downer right now. They're in a dogfight. This is a game that you can't have a lull right now. Somebody pick it up for him and do it for him because he's not coming back.
That's an interesting point. What is the mood of the team, and how do you get the right mood back after a serious injury to a teammate?
Well, it's really hard when you're on the field. Now, if you guys all come over, you can talk to them about, hey, we got to move on. We'll all feel for him, but we got to move on and let's play for him. Let's make this for him now.
Well, they have yet to miss a third down today. 3 for 3 on third down, scoring on every possession. So let's see how they transition quickly.
3rd and 6. Dalton under pressure and going to go down. First sack of the day. Jack Crawford, Tack McKinley combining.
Well, and that's just the 5th time all season that Andy Dalton has been sacked. You see the power move by McKinley. He missed last week's game. That's his 3rd sack on the season. You can see the presence he brings when he's out there on the field.
We have a punter sighting. Kevin Huber. And Justin Hardy is deep. Blocked. And the Falcons are going to take over inside the 10-yard line.
Boy, what a huge momentum shift.
It appeared Keith Tandy may have been the one to get in and block it. Let's see.
No time to get this ball out. Just a clean run through. Literally almost runs past it because of how clean of a shot he had getting through.
Yeah, he was so clean, he was afraid he was going to rough the punter. He could have took it off his foot and scored. Great design by Keith Armstrong, their special teams coordinator.
Keith Tandy there to make the block. 1st and goal for the Falcons, who trail by 4. And a flag.
False start. Offense, number 65. 5-yard penalty.
Coach, let me ask you this. Is it worthwhile if you're Marvin Lewis to go ahead and burn a timeout and bring your team together and try and have a conversation? Because think about what's happened now. You had the injury, and then you had that 3rd down where he gets the sack, first sack of the game, and then you have the block punt. Do you do something to try and regroup, or do you just
No, I think you play on.
stick with it?
You would have had everybody to the sideline while he was being attended to and gotten all that out of the way. But that was an unexcusable penalty right there.
On 1st and goal, the pitch is to Tevin Coleman. Coleman to the 10, to the 5, and out of bounds. They'll mark him out at the 4-yard line.
We've been talking about tackling all day. That was just a free shot, missed tackle. Tevin Coleman did a great job of making the safety miss.
Well, Jesse Bates comes up, and as you said, Coach, he has the leverage. He doesn't trust the inside pursuit, and he ends up getting juked out. Good move by Coleman.
Coleman again. And going nowhere. Thrown back by number 97, Geno Atkins.
Geno's like, you're not going to juke or make a move on this.
No, man.
You're not gonna do that. That's a big bad man right there.
They tried to cut block on the backside, and you're not cutting Geno. He's just too athletic for a big man. And again, big stop right there on second down.
3rd and goal now from the 6. Ryan standing in, now trying to break out, and is sacked at the 10. And this time is Carlos Dunlap.
Well, excellent job of coverage by the Bengals. There was nowhere to go. Looks like there's some question as to whether the ball came loose. The Bengals are saying it's their ball.
Carlos Dunlap putting up a fight for the football at the bottom of the pile.
Still have yet to see a call by the officials, whether he was down.
Yeah, that would be a question. Even if he wrestled it, did it happen after Ryan hit the turf? Falcons feel strongly enough about it to have their field goal unit on the field. You see the frustration there in Matt Ryan. That's a golden opportunity.
Yeah, that was a huge stop by the Cincinnati Bengals. I mean, everything that happened with the injury, the 3rd down sack, then the punt block, to only give up 3, that's a win for the Falcons, for the Bengals.
Matt Bryant from 28 yards, and it's good. That's the first time the Falcons didn't score a touchdown in the red zone in the last 12 trips. They trailed by 1.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Honda. Awarded Best SUV Brand by U.S. News. Sonic. This is how you Sonic. And by NFL Sunday Ticket, only on DirecTV.
A few looks at the College Football Hall of Fame, founded in 1951, opened here in Atlanta in 2014. Hey, there's a familiar person right in the middle of your screen. Our friend and colleague, Jamie Erdahl. Worked a CBS college football game between Tennessee and Georgia yesterday and just decided to pop in on us today.
Yeah, we had her, 3 years on our crew. So happy for Jamie getting an opportunity with college football and gets to relax a little bit on Sundays as we're up here calling an incredible game.
Really impressed with both defenses coming out from halftime. Both won the first drive. I mean,
since we're talking college football, Saturday, the best game from the best conference features number 5 ranked LSU taking on Florida. Promises to be a good one. Their last 4 meetings decided by a touchdown or less. The drive to Atlanta and college football today bring you all you need to know, beginning at 2:30 Eastern Time here on CBS. And by the way, Jamie always laughs. It's just the way she is.
Yeah.
Andy Dalton on the move. Sideline pass. And they're going to call that a catch. They are at about the 38-yard line to John Ross. Let's see.
Looks like gets that left foot down and drags the right foot. He's taken some heat here in recent weeks because of some drop passes, and
that's going to be challenged. They tried to get the snap off. I'm not sure I saw that foot drag, Trent.
You don't see watch the pellets. It looks like the black pellets kick up as he's dragging the right foot. So let's see. Left one's down. Now look at that right toe. See the.
Well, if you're going to be picky about it. We have a timeout called on the field, by the way.
Well, and it just depends if he's got the ball secure while the foot is dragging, or if the foot has already come off the ground. I think because it's called a catch.
Yeah.
I don't know if there's, at least from what we've seen, if there's enough to overturn it.
it sure looked like a good catch.
Yeah.
Good job with his feet. And he had control of the ball throughout the catch from what we saw.
And good news for the Bengals that John Ross appears to be back on the field healthy. Here's another look at it.
One down. Yeah, I don't know if there's enough to overturn it.
No, he maintained possession.
And that's why they're up on the line of scrimmage.
That to me is the biggest improvement this year in Andy Dalton, playing outside the pocket.
Andy Dalton has completed 13 straight throws. This is Bernard across the 40 to about the 42, brought down by Isaiah Oliver, the rookie cornerback out of Colorado. Oh, Andy Dalton, we're talking about him like pluses and minuses. Not too many minuses for him today.
No, he's chasing an old number 14 for the Cincinnati Bengals. Kenny Anderson might try to hit 22 in a row.
You just touched on the fact his mobility, the fact they brought in quarterback coach Alex Van Pelt, who was up in Green Bay working with Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers is one of the best at getting outside the pocket and extending plays, and you can tell that work has really helped Andy Dalton.
That one batted right back by Vic Beasley.
Beasley's coming off the edge here. He doesn't fall for the bootleg, and instead of flattening out, he's right there in Dalton's face.
How about Vic Beasley's hang time?
You know, pass rushers don't play the cutback. They rush the passer, and that's exactly what he was doing. He said, "The heck with the run, I'm going after the quarterback."
Well, Greg, remember, he left in the first half because of an ankle injury, so didn't seem to affect him with that vertical.
3rd and 6 for the Bengals. Dalton throws, that's complete, and that's good for a first down and more. To the 45, Tyler Boyd. That's a 13-yard pickup.
And just buying time with his feet. We just touched on it. He's buying time with his feet. The pocket is coming in, and he just bounces a little bit to his right. Can't get his feet secure in the ground, but he's able to make an accurate throw and pick up the first down.
Yeah, and that's where he struggled in the past, is moving, not being set in the pocket. I think Alex Van Pelt has done a great job with his fundamentals.
So once again, the Bengals in Atlanta territory. This is Bernard. Bernard breaks to the outside. 35 and out of bounds at about the 32 or the 31-yard line, run out by DeMonte Kazee.
Again, Isaiah Oliver has contained. He gets sucked inside. Bernard bounces outside. He loses leverage. We keep talking about leverage all day.
Leverage and trust. Leverage and trust. It's
I mean, that should be a 4-yard gain.
Right.
Bernard comes to the sideline for a breather. He's replaced by the rookie Mark Walton. First down. This is Walton. And we check in downstairs with Melanie Collins. Melanie.
Well, Greg, we don't yet know the extent of Tyler Eifert's injury. They got him into the tunnel down here, and he just broke down emotionally. You could tell he was in a ton of pain. They took him into the x-ray room initially. He's not being taken to the hospital yet, as he remains in the Bengals locker room. I'll update you guys when I have something official, but just awful to see him dealing with another injury, guys.
All right, Melanie, thank you. 2nd and 8. Dalton throwing, incomplete. Too high for A.J. Green. It'll be 3rd and 8.
It was scary when Giovanni Bernard kind of limped off, because Marvin Lewis rolled the dice and only dressed 2 running backs today. They can't afford to lose one of them, that's for sure. Good job by Robert Alford right there on A.J. Green.
Cincinnati's only not converted 3rd down one time today, and it was on a 3rd and long, which they're facing once again. Without Eifert, it'll be interesting to see what combination Dalton wants to work with.
On 3rd and 8, Dalton under pressure and goes down. Courtesy of Tack McKinley. We talked at the very beginning of the day what his return might mean to the Falcon defense.
Well, and the bad thing, not only do you not get the 3rd down, but now all of a sudden, instead of kicking a field goal, the Bengals are going to send the punting unit out. You're right, Greg. McKinley's made a big difference, especially in both 3rd and longs, being able to push the pocket.
Justin Hardy is deep. And Kevin Huber will try to pin the Falcons deep. Fair catch called for and made at about the 8-yard line. 7:40 to play in the third. It's a 1-point game. Back once again in this beautiful stadium here in Atlanta, Mercedes-Benz Stadium. Greg Gumbel, Trent Green, Bruce Arians, Melanie Collins, and our rules analyst Gene Steratore, who hasn't been called on yet, but we're patient. 28-27. The Bengals in the lead. Atlanta led for just 3 minutes and 4 seconds at the start of the day, and since then it has been an offensive shootout on both sides. Ryan gonna go deep down the far sideline. It is caught by Julio Jones. And now ruled that he's out of bounds. Incomplete.
The best part about this is how he comes back to the ball. Doesn't leave an angle. Yeah, that second foot comes out. Good call by the officials. There's one. Second one hits that white line.
What a throw and catch. I mean, there aren't many guys that can run 30-yard comebacks and quarterbacks hit them on the money.
So it's 2nd and 10. The fans think they see something, but I think they're fooling themselves. This pass is complete to Mohamed Sanu. They're watching on the huge overhead
right.
screens here,
Well,
but I don't know what they see.
I agree with you, Greg. I don't think that was worth the challenge or the loss of a potential loss of a timeout. It was ruled incomplete on the field. I don't think there was enough to overturn it. Now, all of a sudden, you get that completion in the middle of the field. You get a first down anyway, so smart decision by the Falcons coaching staff.
That was incomplete literally by half a foot.
Yes.
From the 22 on first down, Tevin Coleman hit hard and bounced right back. You've just joined us recently here in Atlanta. As I said, it has been all offense today. Andy Dalton, 17 of 21 and 2 touchdowns. And the Bengals lost Tyler Eifert here in the third quarter with a horrendous injury to what appeared to be his right ankle. He is out for the rest of this game. It would not surprise us to learn that he is gone for the rest of the season. 2nd and 8. Ryan throwing back and hit almost immediately. It was Marvin Hall. And it'll be 3rd down.
Well, that was a sure tackle by Sean Williams. There was no doubt about that. He wrapped it up and said, you're not juking one way or another.
He read the screen perfectly. He studied his playbook this week. He studied a lot of film. That was a well-designed play. Great tackle. 3rd
downs have been the story here, just as they have been all season long for both these teams. The two worst teams in stopping their opponents on 3rd down. And it's a 3rd and 6 here for the Falcons. Ryan for Ito Smith, and there's a stop on 3rd down as he's brought to a halt at the 30-yard line.
Well, consider between the two teams in the first half, there was only 1 3rd down stop to the entire half. So far in the second half, each team has 2 3rd down stops. So, Coach, you and I were just talking about the last commercial break. You got to give some credit to these defensive coordinators of both teams, the adjustments they made at halftime.
No doubt, Terrell Austin and Marquand Manuel did some good talking and good coaching at halftime.
Matt Bosher to kick it away to Alex Erickson. Atlanta's first punt of the day. Erickson at about the 30. And out of bounds across the 40-yard line. .452 to play in the third. Cincinnati by 1.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Verizon. The best unlimited is on Verizon, America's most awarded network. And by McDonald's.
You know, Coach and Trent will be at the top of the Ferris wheel. Melanie will be running through Centennial Park. Give me the aquarium. Largest aquarium in the Western Hemisphere, 550,000 square feet here in Atlanta. Because I'm an aquatic kind of guy. Andy Dalton from his own 42, the pitch for Bernard. And Bernard, with a head of speed, gets close to midfield. You see things have calmed down a bit with the Bengals here in the second half.
But they're starting this possession off with great field position because what their defense had done with holding the Falcons and then with the punt return. And then, of course, on first down, you get a 7-yard run. Now you're kind of setting the plate for anything you want to do.
Second and 3. Let's see what offensive coordinator Bill Lazor and Andy Dalton want to do. Dalton. Whoa. Giovanni Bernard was pounced upon by Duke Riley. And that was real close to going the other way.
I was thinking the same thing, Greg. If Duke Riley had been looking back at the quarterback, he may have been able to pick this in stride and go the other way, but he's dialed in on covering his guy. He knows the success the Bengals have had throwing to Bernard on that swing route, so he secured the tackle, forcing a 3rd and long.
Yeah, they've been beat up all week about tackling running backs and giving up yards after the catch, and he was dialed in on his tackle.
3.5 to play here in the 3rd.
Well, it looks like the Falcons going back to man coverage. Dalton got to pick the matchup he wants. Quick screen.
Out to the near side, Tyler Boyd. Boyd with running room and a first down to the 45 of the Falcons.
How about Cordy Glenn, the left tackle, 77, 6'6", 345. He gets out in space. Boyd waits for his block. He really doesn't even have the block. The DB's going low on that. He doesn't want to take that on.
The big block again was A.J. Green. He got the block for the first down. And again, you can't talk about how unselfish a player he is.
Grady Jarrett, number 97, has gone to the sideline for the Falcons. This is Walton. Little stop and go, gets a couple. And it'll be 2nd and 7.
Well, good patience by Walton, reading that block, setting it up, not cutting back too soon, just kind of going with the pile. Effective run on first down.
And that's what, coming out of half, both defenses were shutting down the run pretty good, putting them in 3rd long. The Bengals are starting to get their running game going again on 1st and 10, which is going to help their play action game. Again, you got A.J. in the slot up top.
Dalton looks that way, throws that way on the sideline, incomplete off the hands of Ross. And we have a penalty flag down.
What do you do here, Coach? You have an incomplete pass. You decline the holding penalty. You got 3rd and 7, but if you take it, then you're sitting there looking at 2nd and 17.
Yeah, I'm sending them back
holding,
just because of field goal range.
Number 62,
Okay.
10-yard penalty. Replay 2nd down.
You know, they don't have to make the first down, but if they get 5 yards, you're giving up
Then
3
you get a
points.
field goal, right?
Alex Redmond guilty of the hold.
On the flip side, you're giving them 2 downs.
Right.
But again, you're defending the 38-yard line to not give up 3 points right here.
Well, just a little bit ago, we were looking at pictures of Grady Jarrett over on the sideline dealing with some kind of injury, so he's not in there. He's been a force in the middle for the Falcons. They're going to have to do without him for a little bit.
2nd and 17, and Dalton out here in the flat end, bouncing around and incomplete off the hands of Walton, and a flag. On the near side, and Brian Poole is pleading.
Well, he led with his helmet. They're protecting guys now, and Poole comes in, lowers his helmet right to the face mask of Bernard after that ball is incomplete. That's a huge penalty right there. Instead of 3rd and 17 on the other side of the 50, this will be a first down.
Personal foul. Defense. Unnecessary roughness, hitting the head and neck area of the defensive receiver. 15-yard penalty, automatic first down.
And not much doubt about it.
Well, you can see the reaction of the Bengals sideline. Everybody pointed that out.
Yeah, you can't lead with the crown of your helmet. I mean, you got a big stop on defense right there, and just wrap him up and tackle him.
So a new set of downs for Dalton. Over the middle. Intercepted. Picked off by DeMonte KZ. And a penalty marker flies. Two of them fly on the far side of the field.
Ball appears to go through the hands of Tyler Croft. Let's see if Campbell gets a hand in there and knocks that away, but the ball gets tipped in the air. There's the penalty.
Yep, a little bit of the face mask. Or
delayed hit. Either way, horse collar.
Yeah.
But Campbell got away with one right there. He grabbed the tight end. He stumbles out of the route.
They could have called holding or pass interference on that.
Andy Dalton put the ball right on the money. Bounces off his hands. He had 2 interceptions last week because his receivers let him down.
Well, I don't think Croft let him down. I think he got grabbed on that. You saw him get grabbed right around the head and
never got his hands up.
Right. You can see Andy Dalton there saying unbelievable.
After the interception, personal foul, face mask on the return team, personal foul, unnecessary roughness, horse collar tackle. Those fouls offset. Both were dead balls. Result of the plays, first down, Atlanta ball at the 46-yard line.
it is still Atlanta's ball off the turnover. There's the face mask on the part of number 27, KZ. .143 to play in the third, and here are the Falcons at their own 46. Ito Smith, penalty marker in the backfield.
During the run, holding. Offense number 51. 10-yard penalty from the previous spot. Replay, first down.
That is the veteran Pro Bowl center, Alex Mack.
Well, this is 2 times after big momentum changes that the Falcons have had penalties on 1st and 10. They got the big play down in the end zone on the block punt, jump off sides. Get an interception, now hold. Killing themselves on 1st down.
Well, this has been, up in the first half, certainly a relatively penalty-free game that's turned into something of a flag fest here in the second half. Now 1st and 20. Ryan hit as he tries to throw the ball. Let's see if it's a fumble or an incomplete pass. Penalty marker is down there.
That's Tupou pushed in the middle of the pile. He just drives Alex Mack right back into the face of Matt Ryan. And I think literally right back into the face. It looks like Tupou may have gotten a hand to the face as far as hitting Matt Ryan with the face mask.
Result of the play is a fumble recovered by the offense. Personal foul, roughing the passer, defense number 58. 15-yard penalty, automatic, first down.
The penalty is on Carl Lawson.
Lawson will be coming from the top of your screen. Tupou comes right through the middle, puts the hand, actually hits him in the face. Then watch Lawson at the bottom. I'm not sure what the penalty on Lawson was.
He wrapped Matty Ryan's neck up here, hit him straight to the head. That's a penalty all the way. So again, discipline on both teams right now is getting a little raggedy.
So a first down as we approach a minute to play here in the third. Smith, Ito Smith, inside the 45 to the 44, where Preston Brown makes the tackle. Both these teams trying to discover a running game here in the second half.
That's probably the first positive run for the Falcons in the second half, which they did so well in the first half. Again, I wouldn't be surprised 2nd and 5 if this isn't a go-to Julio deep play.
Ito Smith runs into a quick stop at the 42. Preston Brown, Jordan Evans combining. Smith comes off as we look at 3rd and 3. And they'll let the time wind down, and we come to the end of 3 here in Atlanta. 28-27, Cincy. Along with our producer Ken Mack, our director Suzanne Smith, Bruce Arians, Trent Green, Melanie Collins, Greg Gumbel. We start the 4th quarter here in Atlanta, and we start with a 3rd and 3 for the Atlanta Falcons, who trail by 1.
Coach, I don't know about you, but I like those bunch formations where you have the 3 receivers like the Falcons do up at the top of the screen. You can do some different combination routes there, whether you get zone or man coverage.
Yeah, you got Julio wide open in the middle. Nobody even covered him.
That pass to a wide open Julio Jones for a first down to the 30.
If it's 3rd and 3, who's the one guy you cover?
Well,
there's some miscommunication that you can't just.
Hardy Nickerson, the young middle linebacker, went the wrong way. He went to the single coverage and left Julio where he's supposed to push over to Julio.
Julio Jones's first reception in this half. He had 5 in the first half. Ryan pulls it down, wide open, inside the 5, touchdown, Calvin Ridley.
Just a quick little nod to the outside, which gives the appearance that it's going to be an out route. Gives a quick little nod and then takes it up. Safety in the middle of the field, so no help over the top. Watch this quick little step, and it's over.
They will go for a 2-point conversion. It is Atlanta's first lead since halfway through the first quarter. All the wide receivers on this side of the field. Ryan throwing, goal line. It is caught, and a penalty marker was thrown.
We've talked about it many times. It's a fine line between a rub route and a pick route. That time the flag was thrown, so.
I believe you said it depends on which side you're on.
Right. Got Ridley on that one, just trying to run through the defender and cause his man to get in the way of Bates, who had Sanu in the flat.
It's questionable whether he got that ball in.
Sean Smith and his crew discussing it, and here we go. Here we don't go.
Well, that's a big call, because if it's not in, you decline the penalty and it's a failed attempt.
Pass interference on the offense. That penalty's declined. The try was no good. Timeout.
So that's exactly what happened. But young Mr. Ridley makes his presence felt again. Atlanta leads at 33-28. Ridley on the receiving end of a 30-yard touchdown pass from Matt Ryan to cap the 54-yard drive, and the Falcons lead it 33-28. Ryan, 8 touchdowns, no picks in his last 2 games, including 3 touchdown passes today.
Well, and 5 of those 8 going to Ridley the last 2 weeks.
This is Alex Erickson. Erickson, 25. 40, cuts it back across the 45 to the 48. A terrific return by Alex Erickson. Now let's go back to that conversion attempt. The Falcons tried to go for the 2 points where it was ruled that Sanu did not make it to the end zone.
Now, it's clearly a penalty on Ridley as he's trying to get up the field making contact, but Sanu, watch, he puts that ball in the left arm, so when his knees come down, the ball has not broken the plane. Had he had the ball in his right arm, it looks like it would have been across the plane, which would have in turn forced the Bengals to take the penalty and retry it. Big difference there in which hand you put it in.
5-point lead Dalton gives to Giovanni Bernard, who is the only running back available to the Cincinnati Bengals now. Mark Walton is undergoing examination in the locker room.
Yeah, and the Bengals rolled the dice, only dressing 2 healthy running backs this week, putting Thomas Rawls down. And I mean, that is scary if you're the offensive coordinator and you lose your only other guy. You'll probably be playing 5 wide receivers the rest of the way.
Gio Bernard is it at running back right now for Cincinnati. Bernard looking for first down yardage, very close to it at about the 43.
I'm holding my breath every time he gets up, Trent.
I was just sitting there thinking that if you're the coaching staff of the Bengals, every time you hand the ball off or throw a swing to him or whatever however you're going to use, now you can't play scared, right? You just got to call your plays, and football's football. So
play smart, not scared.
Yeah.
Here's a 3rd and 1. Dalton brings Bernard back into the backfield. Going to throw for it under pressure. It is complete inside the 40 to the 37-yard line. Tyler Boyd.
Boyd is going to be a part of the bunch formation to the right side of the screen, and he's just going to take off across the field. Only need a yard, so because they're in man coverage, the Falcons decide to bring pressure in that bunch formation. You can take off, and it's hard for those guys to bubble around each other and get a clean look.
Yeah, you'd always like to have the inside guy and the outside guy play together and pass it off.
It's got to be a zone man principle, right?
They locked it up, and you're going to get picked every time.
Tyler Boyd, 6 catches, 57 yards.
You're going to get rubbed, Coach. It's not going to be picked, right?
This is Bernard. Stacked up at the line of scrimmage. There's Grady Jarrett back in action.
Now, again, the thing with a 2-point conversion, 2 field goals beats you. That 14-25 when they went for 2, that's always the question. 2 field goals beats me, or should I wait later to go for 2? Obviously, they're getting in range for the field goal now with plenty of time on the clock, but obviously they want to get a touchdown. But that's where that 2-point conversion comes back into play.
That's where you have to juggle that. What kind of risk you want to take with it.
On 2nd and 10. This side of the field, penalty marker flies as A.J. Green pulls it in.
What was that same coverage that they ran earlier? A 2-man principle with you had 2 high safeties, everybody else pressed and running a trail technique.
Holding. Defense, number 23. Penalties decline, result of the play is first down.
That's Robert Alford.
Well, and last time they were in this coverage, Alford got called on the same thing. He was in trail on A.J. Green and got his hands on him early.
But that's the thing, when you're playing against A.J., he's got that length, so he's going to push off. It's just who's getting called. All right, I know I'm going to grab him, but I got to let him go and then get ready for the push-off. Same matchup at the bottom, 1-on-1.
The pitch for Erickson. Left side with blocking. Inside the 15 to about the 12.
Well, there's a play if you're only down to 1 running back. What you do, you put Erickson in the backfield and you pitch him the ball. Let him take the sweep just as you would a running back.
And there is Mark Walton out of concussion protocol and back onto the field.
Yeah, obviously the Bengals coaching staff did a great job knowing they only dressed two to have a couple plays for a wide receiver to play running back.
2nd and 2. Walton inside the 10. That'll be good for a first down. It'll be 1st and goal from about the 9. Now into the red zone where the Bengals have been so effective. They have 3 touchdowns and 3 red zone visits. They've scored points in 32 consecutive trips inside the 20.
First and 9 is one of those times, Trent, it's hard for me to run the ball right here. I'm going to try some kind of quick pass, hopefully to a halfback.
He's going to go to the end zone. It is A.J. Green caught for the touchdown, and we have a penalty marker back in the backfield.
When I saw Dalton throw the ball the way he did, he had this flat right to the corner of the end zone. A lot of times you throw a jump ball to A.J. That time hit him right in stride.
Illegal use of the hands to the face, offense number 68, 10-yard penalty. Replay first down.
That penalty is on Bobby Hart, and it will negate the touchdown.
That ball came out so fast. It's hard to believe he got a penalty on the play, but he had to punch him right off the get-go.
There's Hart. Let's see. Watch the. Oh, wow.
Yeah,
I don't see it. That one.
I mean, he hit him, but he pulled it right back. There wasn't anything violent
I didn't
about
see his
it.
hand up in the face mask, so it was
He turned his head a little bit, but
so I don't know.
1st and goal from the 19. That ball tipped as it went on its way, and we get a flag in the secondary.
Holding defense number 21. 5-yard penalty from the previous spot results in automatic first down.
That's on Trufant, and boy, now we've gotten into an area where teams are like giving it back and forth.
Well, and Tyler Boyd's going to be lined up in the left slot, and he's just running a drag route across with Trufant on him man-to-man. You can see the hold. Watch as the inside release. He's going. Trufant knows he's beat, so he reaches out and grabs that shoulder and pulls him back. For that deep official, that's an easy view to call.
yeah, the back judge's not going to miss that. They see a jersey tug. That's automatic. You can't lose your discipline. Coach Quinn talked about technique. Play with your technique and leverage, and don't give silly penalty. They had him right where they wanted him. Now they give him a first down.
4 first downs via the penalty for Cincinnati. On first down, the pass again, corner of the end zone, and batted down by Alford this time. Intended for Green.
Same exact play they scored on just a minute ago before the hands of the face call. They dialed it up again, and that time Alford ready for it.
Yeah, he's all pro for a reason. You're not going to get him twice. He got his head around. I thought he was going to intercept it, to tell you the truth.
Atlanta's defense has not been sterling in the 4th quarter. They've allowed 36 points, the 2nd most in the league behind the Oakland Raiders coming into week 4. Dalton pulls it down, now throws complete. This is Boyd, and Boyd dives inside the 10 to the 9.
DeMonte Kazee was real lucky right there because he came in and led with his head into the pile. That could have been another penalty right there.
3rd and 5.
We've touched on it several times this game, the job that Dalton does moving with his feet now. Vast improvement on that, just his ability throwing. And 3rd down, I would anticipate that they're going to go man-to-man. That's what they've done throughout the majority of this game.
And to me, the biggest mismatch would be Giovanni to Bernard versus that linebacker.
Bernard is with Andy Dalton in the backfield. Dalton going down back at the 19-yard line. Ball comes out. and belongs to Atlanta. Tack McKinley with the hit.
You see what the Falcons did? They switched it up. Instead of going man-to-man, they went zone, and they passed everything off, so there was nowhere for Dalton to go quickly with the ball. McKinley bringing him down. It looks like his knee's down before the ball comes out. All turnovers are reviewed, so that's going to be looked at. But McKinley, we talked about how valuable it was getting him back after missing the game a week ago.
Yeah, Vic Beasley on the recovery, but from what we see there, it looks like Dalton was down before the ball came out. We'll be back.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Control GX, the first shampoo that gradually reduces gray. Domino's. Order online at Domino's.com. And by Ram Trucks.
Right. We are back in Atlanta. They have taken a look, and Sean Smith is about ready to deliver the verdict.
The quarterback had the ball with the knee down on the ground before it was knocked loose. Therefore, it'll be Cincinnati's ball on the 18-yard line, 4th down. Clock operator, please reset the game clock to 8 minutes and 26 seconds.
And our rules analyst, former NFL referee Gene Steratore, pretty much the way you saw it, Gene, right?
Yes, it was. Good overturn, possession, shin down even before knee. It's a good overturn and a good ruling, yes.
All right, Gene, thank you. That will be 4th down now for the Bengals and a field goal attempt from 36 yards out. And the kick by Randy Bullock is good. And that pulls the Bengals to within 2 with 8:19 to play here in the 4th. Atlanta's lead is 33-31. We have had more swings and momentum here in the second half than you can count.
Well, and it's going to be interesting as this game unfolds. This final 8 minutes and 19 seconds, Coach touched on the point about going for the 2 points that Atlanta after their last score, you know, and now all of a sudden it's a 2-point game. So if you go for one, now it would be a 3-point game. So some of these things come into play, and man, what an exciting game we've had.
Yeah, it's good to see our defenses on both teams kind of show back up and make plays, even though it was overturned. They got a sack fumble, but both defenses showed up, and we got a heck of a ball game. That decision, I thought, was a little bit too early in the game to go for 2 and get ahead by 6. Now, if it was under 8 minutes, definitely go for 2.
That field goal, the first points by the Bengals here in the second half. Marvin Hall is deep and will not get a chance to return this one as it rolls through the end zone for a touchback. A reminder, stay tuned for the NFL Today update delivered by Pizza Hut, time permitting. JB, Phil, Nate, Boomer, Coach Cowher will have all the latest NFL scores and highlights. Back onto the field comes Matty Ice. 23 of 30, 280 yards and 3 touchdowns today.
See, I think even though you have the lead coach, I don't think you change anything that you're doing offensively. Don't all of a sudden go into conservative mode. Still be aggressive. Still, hey, if you can get a big play, take a big play. Just don't be careless with the football.
Ryan over the middle. Sanu breaking free up the sideline and forced out of bounds.
Nobody wanted to have a bigger game in this game than the former Bengal, Mohamed Sanu.
What's the hard play fake by Matt Ryan? Sanu's coming in from his left. Able to break through 2 tackles. You said it. I was talking to Matt Ryan on Friday. I said, hey, Julio Jones and A.J. Green, this is a good matchup because, man, I got Mohamed Sanu in my ear talking about he needs to get some plays against his old team.
Tevin Coleman. And a great takedown in the backfield by Nick Vigil, number 59.
And that's big. A negative run just on the edge of field goal range. I'm not a fan of that toss sweep here. I want to go down. If I'm running football, I'm going downhill. 1 or 2 yards is huge. A -3 put me in a bad situation now.
That's William Jackson on the sideline.
and what run have they had the most success with? It's been that zone, just kind of run, let them read it, let them read the blocks, and then you cut back. It's, yeah, that one just stretched out and played right into the hands. Vigil with a good tackle.
Sanu now over 100 yards receiving, 111 to be exact. Ryan, sideline, and almost picked by number 29, Tony McRae.
Yeah, Matty's real lucky right there. That looked like a pick six. He kind of threw a late hitch out there, and McRae broke on it perfectly. I think he panicked a little bit.
Yeah,
just let me knock this down instead of a veteran guy pick it off and go.
You got to, with that type of coverage, and I know Matt Ryan knows this. He's done it for a long time. You got to leave it to that outside shoulder. If you have that underneath coverage trying to buzz out there, good reaction by Julio Jones, though.
This is one of those. I don't need the first down. I need about 8 to get a field goal.
3rd and 13. Ryan, little short pop over the middle. That is complete. Austin Hooper has the first down.
Well, they're in position. The Bengals are in position to make this tackle, and Hooper he tries a little chip before he releases. It's a check down. Listen, if they're going to drop zone and get underneath, Matt Ryan, I'm going to look upfield, dump it off, get the yards. What'd you just say, 8 yards? If they had made that tackle, that's an 8-yard gain. You're forcing them to a field goal.
And you're eating up clock now, too. You're taking this down somewhere in the neighborhood of maybe 3 minutes. And, gosh, you've got to make that tackle. That was terrible tackling.
Austin Hooper's first catch of the day is a big one. Ryan throwing, incomplete. Into the end zone, Sanu, his intended receiver. And Sanu comes up hobbled. Sure looked like one of the Bengals receivers lined up offside in the slot.
Again, I'm with you, Trent. I don't want to play conservative here.
Right.
Let's go get a touchdown. Let's put this thing in a 2-score game, not 6-point game.
And that's the important thing to remember. A touchdown does make it a 2-point game. You hold them to a field goal here, the Bengals can still go down and get a touchdown to win this thing.
2nd and 10. Ito Smith inside the 25 to the 24. And we come up on 6 minutes to play in regulation. And a 3rd and 7.
Good job there, Matt. Audible. He saw them get into a solid Bear defense, and he had their #1 run versus that front. Got to it and got good positive yardage.
Sanu back onto the field for the Falcons.
Brian with problem getting that play, and he ran over to the sideline to get the play down under 10 seconds now on the play clock.
Ryan over the middle, that's complete. Julio Jones inside the 10. It'll be 1st and goal.
Well, I thought they could have popped it real quick right to Sanu coming off the line of scrimmage. Instead, they hit that second slant right behind him with Julio Jones. Watch, he goes to the outside. He sets him up with the stick moves and then crosses the face. Excellent play concept by Sarkisian and dialing up at the right time.
Julio Jones, 7 catches for 107 yards. 1st and goal for Atlanta. Ito Smith for a couple and a flag.
Anytime an offensive lineman jumps up waving his arms.
Holding, offense number 65. 10-yard penalty from the previous spot. Replay, 1st down.
2nd one today on Brandon Fusco. Are you calling that? Are you calling that an indicator?
You're giving yourself up when you don't even know who they're calling it on, and you jump up. Here's Fusco right there.
I don't know how you call holding right there. The guy ducked under him, and he just fell down.
Yeah.
So 1st and goal now from the 19 and a half. Ryan, quick pass to the near side. This is Ridley. And Ridley to about the 11. Clock continues to move as we come up on 4:25 to play. And we have a timeout on the field. Let's see who called it.
Timeout, Cincinnati.
So the Bengals use their first timeout here in the second half. Each team now with 2 timeouts remaining, and Atlanta looking at a 2nd and goal. This has turned into a completely different kind of a football game than what we had in the first half.
No doubt. You know, both these defenses have showed up in the second half making plays, but again, the offensive players, Julio Jones, A.J. Green, those guys are showing up big. Quarterbacks are still playing great. This is interesting here because 4:35, if you use both your timeouts, if they kick a field goal, you should get it back 2 minutes and 20 seconds with no timeouts, down by 5.
Second and goal. Ryan hit and goes down at the 20-yard line. Carl Lawson. And it will be 3rd and goal.
Excellent job by Lawson. They're only rushing 4. He just gets an inside move on Jake Matthews, and
those of you who watched the Patriots hand the Miami Dolphins their first loss of the season, welcome to Atlanta. Along with Trent Green, Bruce Arians, Melanie Collins, Greg Gumbel. It has been a different kind of football game. All offense in the first half. The offenses have cooled down a bit. It was 28-24 at the break. Atlanta leading now 33-31, 4.5 to play in regulation. And they're looking at a 3rd and goal from the 19-yard line.
If you're Matt Ryan, you just have to be smart with the football here. You're already in field goal range, trying to force it into the end zone.
Ryan throwing back to the end zone, too far for Austin Hooper.
Well, that's big because the Bengals get to save the timeout now, and they're going to get it back with 4 minutes to go.
Yeah, the incompletion, as you said, stops the clock, gives a little nod route. Actually has him. It looks like he could have flattened that ball out a little bit more. A little conservative with the throw, putting it in a high spot in the back of the end. I can understand why he would throw it that way, just based on the situation.
Here's Matt Bryant. He's been good from 55 yards and from 28. This one from 37. Blocked. Blocked by the Bengals. They have the ball. We have a flag down. Looked like Tony McRae made the block, but let's check what the penalty is. Here's Sean Smith.
Offside, defense number 29, 5-yard penalty, replay, 4th down.
Well, that figures. Tony McRae was the guilty party offside.
He got around the edge quickly. He's up top. He gets a little bit too much of a jump start.
This is my problem. That ball should have been blown dead because he could injure the kicker. He's obviously offsides, and this has happened 2 or 3 times throughout the league in the last couple of years. Jump offsides, and the kicker gets hurt, and you don't have anybody to kick field goals.
That sounds like that's come up on the rules committee before.
Kind of brought up by me.
Kind of brought up by you, right.
So now from 32 yards. And this kick is good. And the penalty marker is down on the other side of the field again. And again, McRae was offside.
Yeah, you're not taking the points off the board here. You're going to go ahead and get your 3 points.
Offside, defense number 29, penalties decline, result of the play, field goal.
So put 3 more on the board for the Atlanta Falcons. They lead it by 5 with 4:15 to play. The Atlanta Falcons lost their opener to the Eagles. They beat Carolina. They lost in overtime last week to New Orleans. Today they're trying to pull even at 2-2 on the year. They lead 36-31 with 4:15 remaining in regulation. It has been entertaining, to say the very least.
Really a tale of two halves. It's pretty electric first half for an offensive standpoint. Second half, a lot more penalties, a lot more punts.
These Bengals scored 28 in the first half, just 3 so far in the second. Alex Erickson will not bring this one out. Let's bring you up to date on what happened today, Trent.
Well, and as we said, it's two halves. So first you got Tyler Eifert with the touchdown in the back of the end zone. He's left the game due to injury. Giovanni Bernard with 2 rushing touchdowns on the day, and Ridley with a catch there and a second receiving touchdown. That gives him 5 receiving touchdowns in the last 2 weeks. It's been a game highlighted by offenses and excellent quarterback play, but here in the second half, the defenses have caused more punts, gotten people off the field on third downs. As I mentioned, some penalties have swayed things back and forth, and we've had some turnovers as well. So much different football game first half to second half.
Atlanta with 2 receivers over 100 yards receiving. Bernard in the backfield. Bernard looks for running room and is stood up before he can reach the 30-yard line by Devondre Campbell.
For the Falcons, it's discipline now. No more penalties, and we got to tackle. We can't give up yards after the catch.
As we go under 4 minutes to play, the Bengals with the ball and just 1 timeout remaining. Atlanta has 2.
And the Falcons have struggled defensively in the fourth quarter this year, giving up a ton of points. This is a huge drive for them.
Second and 6. Dalton throwing this side and incomplete. Pass intended for Tyler Boyd and broken up by Desmond Trufant. It'll be 3rd and 6.
Once again, the Falcons able to bring pressure with just 4. A back shoulder there. Trufant looks like he has his arm wrapped around him, but no call as that ball falls incomplete.
Yeah, did a good job not turning him. He just had his arm around him, but he got his left hand in there good.
3rd down conversions, 4 for 6 today. This is a 3rd and 6.
A.J. Green's at the top of the screen. Looks like he has double coverage with help over the top.
Dalton over the middle. That's complete to Tyler Boyd, and that's good for a first down out to about the 38.
Well, and that's what you have to do if you're Andy Dalton. If you realize they're committing 2 defenders to 1 guy, as they usually do with A.J. Green, you have to find that underneath. Boyd that time able to get away from Trufant and get the first down.
Okay, with only 1 timeout left to them, including the 2-minute warning, not really a whole lot of urgency on the part of the Bengals. They have time.
Doesn't need to be at this point in time. I think you want to use up clock, because if you do go down and score, you don't want to leave Atlanta too much time. But the main thing is with this much time, every play is at your disposal.
This is Bernard. And Bernard hit from behind by big number 95, Jack Crawford.
Great hustle and redirect by Crawford. Was rushing the passer, saw the draw. Great hustle by him getting back in the play.
Well, you can see they're going a little more up-tempo here.
Dalton with time. Now rolling and going to tuck it and run out of bounds. Close to the first down marker. He got the first down. Cross midfield into the 48-yard line of the Falcons.
Excellent push by the Falcons. As you see that pocket collapse around the Bengals, and give the Bengals offensive line credit for creating that pocket. But Dalton, realizing things were shutting down, didn't have anything up the field, was able to use that mobility, get outside, and as you said, Greg, scoot down that left sideline to pick up the first down.
Yeah, poor job by the outside rusher on Andy's left. He buried himself in the tackle and let him outside.
Dalton over the middle, got his man Boyd again, and that's good for a first down to the 37.
I think the Bengals are going to let it run down to the 2-minute warning, but once again, they've utilized that. A.J. Green going to the middle of the field, 2 defenders, run Boyd underneath, one-on-one. Take that every time.
That's the play that will take us to the 2-minute warning. 2 minutes to play here in Atlanta. Falcons in the lead by 5.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by State Farm, here to help life go right. And by Bud Light, Enjoyed by giant blue fictional knights everywhere.
Back at Mercedes-Benz Stadium, there's the picture, 36-31 Atlanta. 2 minutes to play, and the Bengals with one timeout. On first down, Dalton breaks away and brought down just inside the 35-yard line, or maybe at the 35. Awfully lucky to have maintained possession.
I don't know how he held on to that football. Beasley was chopping him from behind. It looked like he was going to knock the ball out. That's unbelievable. I don't know. He was in his throwing motion and able to hang on.
That was the strength of Andy Dalton for sure right there.
2nd and 8. Dalton lost it again. And down to the 43-yard line, and that was Vic Beasley.
That time Beasley able to knock it loose. Dalton fortunate enough to jump on top of it. You know, this Atlanta defense has been hammered all week about not being able to get the Saints and Drew Brees off the field at clutch time to preserve that victory a week ago. Watch Beasley as he chops right down on the elbow. The play before, Dalton was able to hang on to it. That time it just squirted free.
Meanwhile, the Bengals have used their 3rd and final timeout with 1:22 to play.
That's 2 really good rushes by Vic Beasley on their best offensive lineman, Cordy Glenn. And again, this is 4-down territory. So you got 2 downs here. You can get half of it, then go for it on 4th down. You don't need it all right here.
That arm going forward, does that constitute a forward pass on the part of Andy Dalton?
I think we'd have to bring in Gene on that one. I would think it would have to be with his arm moving forward like that.
Yeah, in 2 minutes it's reviewed.
And that's what we're looking at.
Yeah, Sean Smith is looking at it on the sideline.
Ball's under control, coming forward. By the way the rule is situated, you'd have to think it's incomplete, which would give the Bengals their timeout back.
Yeah, and
Gene Steratore, you with us?
I am with you. I am with you, and what you guys are talking about, there's 2 elements to this now. If he's trying to bring it back to his body, fumble. In my opinion, that's an arm moving forward pass. Now, if he gets beyond a certain point in his I'll go to this word for you guys, starts to look as if he's tucking it, then it is no longer a forward pass. This one, to me, though, if I'm ruling on this, the arm is moving forward in a passing motion, and the ball comes loose. I'd rule it incomplete, give Cincinnati their timeout back, which is very crucial at this time.
Absolutely.
Hey, Gene, let me ask you real quick, with that left hand trying to come up and stop it, does that left hand coming into play affect it at all, or just the movement of the right arm?
No, that's the element that I'm looking at as well. But as that ball comes out, it comes out before that left hand becomes something that I would use into my breaking down of it, if that makes some sense to you. See, the ball's loose there, and then the hand comes. Is that hand coming to catch what he believes might be a fumble, but it's actually a forward pass? Or is he trying to tuck it? To me, that looks like a pass. And now he realizes it's coming out, so he's trying to repossess what I think is a forward pass by rule.
Here we go, Gene.
The quarterback arm is moving forward with control of the ball. Therefore, it's an incomplete pass. It will be 3rd down on the 35-yard line. Please reset the game clock to 1:26 on the game clock. Cincinnati will get their timeout back. They will not be charged a timeout.
All of those things have happened.
Well, and all those things are big for Cincinnati. You get the timeout back, you get time back on the clock, and you're moving the ball with that incomplete pass. So timeout, yardage, time, all valuable at this point in time.
Yeah. So Cincinnati still with 1 timeout remaining. Atlanta has 2. 3rd and 8 for the Bengals, and a field goal does them no good.
2 great rushes by Vic Beasley. Any other quarterback, I think it's 2 fumbles. Great job by Andy Dalton.
Dalton down the middle. intended for Tyler Boyd, and Desmond Trufant was there. 4th and 8.
Oh, I hate to say it, Trent. When you drop an interception, bad things happen.
Yeah,
but,
I don't know how Trufant misses that one. We're right through the cradle of his arms.
Got his head around, played it perfect, undercut it.
So here it is for the Bengals. 4th down at the 35. They need the 27-yard line for a first down.
Well, you'd think they're going to double team A.J. Green wherever he goes. So you need to find that best one-on-one. Boyd in the middle of the field.
Dalton over the middle, hits his man. That's good for a first down inside the 25. And that is Tyler Boyd. Clock continues to move, a minute 10. Bengals still with that one timeout in their pocket.
Great job by Tyler Boyd, beating him inside.
Dalton throwing this way and overthrows everybody, incomplete. That stops the clock with 53, and a flag is down.
Illegal use of hands, hands to the face, offense number 77. 10-yard penalty, replay first down.
That penalty is on Cordy Glenn, the left tackle. Doesn't come at a great time.
No, it looks like Glenn gets this left hand up into the face of Vic Beasley, who's coming off the edge. You're going to see the combination of the two here. Watch the left arm of Glenn get up around the face mask. You see the helmet tip back.
He never pulled it out. That's the big thing. He never pulled it out.
1st and 20. Dalton quick pass this side. Alex Erickson, and Erickson inside the 30 to about the 27.
Again, the Falcons got 4 downs here. You got to defend 4 downs, not 3.
Coming up on half a minute to play. 2nd and 13. Dalton, this side again, complete and out of bounds at the 20-yard line. And that's the tight end, C.J. Uzama.
Well, 26 seconds here. You got 3rd and, what, 6? You still can use the middle of the field because you're close enough now where you can run up and spike the ball. You want to try and save that timeout if you can, but there's still enough time. If you can get it in the middle of the field, go up, spike it, save that timeout.
Dalton looking left, throwing for the end zone, and incomplete. A.J. Green, the intended receiver, covered by Robert Alford. It'll be 4th and 6.
But the Falcons continue to play soft zone, and A.J. got behind him right there.
I don't know how that.
I don't know how you get behind a guy in cover 3, but that was one that they wish he had back.
I think Alford thought he was going to fall off on Boyd because A.J. was going to do a hitch or a slant underneath, so he was going to fall back. Instead, now you got 4th down. You hear the crowd crank it up.
4th and 6 with 22 seconds to play. Dalton, this side, complete, and down at the 12-yard line is Tyler Boyd, and timeout is called. And Marvin Lewis was running down the sideline to make sure that call got through.
2 big 4th down conversions. Played man-to-man that time and just keep getting beat across the field on drag routes by Tyler Boyd.
Yeah, I've been very impressed with Tyler Boyd today. 11 catches, over 100 yards. He's been that go-to guy in the crucial situations. A.J. Green's been getting double-teamed a lot of the times. Even though A.J.'s got the 3 catches for 65 yards, it's Boyd that's been coming up with those clutch catches and who Andy Dalton feels comfortable with looking in those situations.
So, got big decisions right here. 16 seconds. You can get 2 plays off if you call them both in the huddle and keep the ball on the field and complete it and again come up, and then you got to shoot it to the end zone, or you try to shoot 3 or 4 or 5, 4 in the, excuse me, not 5, 4 into the end zone.
So even if you do get it in bounds, if you have
you got 2 plays
you can line
called,
up and get it
you
going.
got time to get the second one off, and that one's got to go into the end zone.
First down at the 13. Dalton, end zone. batted away. Isaiah Oliver knocked it away from Alex Erickson. 12 seconds to play.
So now you don't, Coach. With 12 seconds, you've either got to get it into the end zone or make sure it gets out of bounds.
With 12, I think you still can. Now, it's got to be an up and down play. 5 or 6 yards, get it closer, then shoot it in the end zone. We always try to get it all the way down to 10, but that was inside the 10-yard line.
No timeouts left for the Bengals. 2nd and 10. Dalton. End zone again. Sliding catch in the end zone for the touchdown by A.J. Green.
A.J. Green just with an inside release corner route. They're playing cover 2.
I don't know what Isaiah Oliver's looking at. They're not going to throw it in the flat.
Right.
Back up and take
Back
away
up.
the corner. Don't bite on the cheese in front of you. You go make that tackle and the game's over.
Pretty nice throw by Andy Dalton. Pretty nice grab by A.J. Green.
For that coverage, excellent design, excellent execution. As you said, why would you not play soft? Let him catch it underneath. And
yeah, I mean, you're defending.
I know it's not quads; it was
yeah.
cover 2, but still in quad, you got to play a soft 2 and force him to throw it underneath.
Let him get out of bounds.
Don't give him a chance.
Let him get out of bounds. Don't let him throw it in the end zone. Obviously, the Bengals have to go for 2, even with 7 seconds left. Anything can happen, so you got to finish it out and get these 2 points. Now, the big thing here, I'm running the ball. Because if you throw it, you're going to give the Falcons a chance to return a touchdown on an interception.
That's what I was just going to say. Greg, you and I were here when that happened against Kansas City.
Yep.
The pick, it was a 2-point conversion. They tried throwing it. Eric Berry took it the other way, 2 points, and took a win away from the Falcons. So I agree with you, Coach. Run it.
He's throwing it.
Or throw it where nobody is.
Yeah.
So with 7 seconds on the clock, let's talk about you being the receiving team now. Even if you have a shot at returning this, do you just let it roll through the end zone for the touchback?
Yeah, I mean, if you're kicking the ball, I'm kicking it on the ground to make them return it. So whoever gets it goes straight to the ground. You'll lose a second. You have 2 timeouts. You got to try to play for a Hail Mary. You've got to hit one ball anywhere on the field because you have 2 timeouts. So I can get a 20-yard dig or something where I can throw it into the end zone.
And if you're the receiving team, you're talking about giving yourself up immediately.
Well, we have 2 timeouts, so I'm getting all. Well, yes, for sure. We're going out of bounds or going in the middle. Call timeout. Now, depending where that grounded kick, a field goal kicker can kick it from 60, so all they got to get to the 50-yard line, or 42-yard line.
And you have to remember, Bryant made that 55-yarder.
With plenty of spare.
Yep.
The 7 seconds is tough.
Let's see what the Bengals have in mind. Bouncer up the middle. Immediately goes down at the 22-yard line, grabbed by Justin Hardy. So 1 second off the clock. Atlanta with 2 timeouts remaining. This has got to be either a sideline or immediate timeout.
Well, you can throw the inside routes, but you're automatically going down and calling timeout.
Catch it, slide, and call timeout.
Yes.
Yeah.
Very similar to what they did before the half.
And even that's going to be close.
Yeah, that's going to be close. It's going to be hard to get 2 plays to get in field goal range.
Julio Jones to the bottom of your screen. And 3 Bengals very deep in the secondary. Ryan throwing the slant to Jones down at the 40-yard line, and timeout is called with 2 seconds to play.
You probably have some form of lateral play.
That's what I was going to say.
Hook and lateral and do the rugby play where just keep pitching it and try to score. I don't think they're going to be able to. get this ball out long enough for Matty to throw it 60 yards in the air.
Well, that was going to be my question, Coach, is do you throw it underneath and you try – we had a play called fire truck where you work it underneath and you're just doing flip and you're trying to just make something happen.
Hey, did you do the fire truck with 3 guys back at the goal line?
Well, that's when you would do it because you'd try getting all the underneath stuff and getting it back.
Get 2 rugby pitches and get everybody down in front blocking.
It's hard to, by the time they get down to the...
Ryan throwing it deep, and Julio Jones fighting for the ball there. It's not going to work either way. The Bengals are going to come away with a come-from-behind win. How about this? The Atlanta Falcons join the 66 New York Giants as the only teams in NFL history to lose back-to-back games while scoring 36 or more points in the game. Our final score, 37-36 Cincinnati. Up next, NFL Today update delivered by Pizza Hut. For Trent, Bruce, Melanie, Greg Gumbel saying so long from Atlanta. Let's take you to James Brown in New York.